celebrating a major milestone at the LAMMA Show 2025 is New Holland, which has achieved 2 million tractors produced at Basildon.
Yeah, correct.
Which is something to shout about, and to shout about it, we've got David Redmond.
Yeah.
So David, just talk us through it.
Well, okay, let's have a look at the tractor. The tractor is obviously a one-off special to celebrate the 2 million. It's a T7 225 underneath, so it's an auto command tractor. The paint job is something special.
It is very special. Yeah. It does stand out on this.
It does. Yeah. It's candy apple blue.
Candy apple blue.
Candy apple blue.
That's the official title.
That's the official title. And how it's built up is layers of paint. So underneath, the tractor was painted silver, so you can see the silver on the Union Jack on the side. So that's not a decal. That's not
a decal?
No, that's actually painted into.
So the silver underneath, that would have been one of your first coat, after primer, obviously, and all that.
The base coat. And then it was layered blue on top of blue on top of blue to build up to get to that nice pearlescent candy apple blue colour. So there's about 6 layers of paint to build up to that colour, and then there's obviously a lacquer over the top.
Yeah.
So yeah, we masked. So that Union Jack on the side there was masked up, and then it was painted black. And if you are taller than me, you can see on the top of the bonnet as well. That's painted black from the grille. It goes up to the cab.
Follows it up there, down the middle.
And the New Holland leaf is on the top of the bonnet as well. So you can't quite see that from down here, but you can see that from further up. And then we had many discussions about the logo. So the 2 millionth logo. As you can see, represents the old 1000 series tractors.
I was going to say, you got the 1000 series in the background there.
And then the new modern day. So it was a take on the old to the new with the 2 millionth logo of Basildon on the side there.
Right.
So that's the paint colour. We've obviously done the wheels.
Yeah, we'll move around here.
All move around for black wheels.
It's quite crowded, isn't it?
It does attract quite a crowd. Yeah. And surprisingly, a lot of people want to buy it.
I was going to say, you must have had people that want this.
Everybody wants it.
Yeah.
It's not for sale.
Definitely not.
Not for sale.
Definitely not.
No, not for sale. People keep saying, how many are you going to make the same? Well, there's only one 2 millionth tractor, and that's this one. We're not making any more.
Right, and where's it going to live, this tractor?
This is going to live in Basildon, in the customer showroom in Basildon. Right. That's where she's going to stay. That's where she's going to reside.
Yeah.
So she's too special to move on.
Cool.
So yeah, the wheels obviously black, and then they've got the ascent round the outside, the ring round the outside there, matching the paintwork on the tractor.
Yeah.
And then the windows as well. So this is proper Essex spec. This is blacked out to 70%. So the 2 side windows, the door the other side, this side window, and the rear window are 70% tint, which is just road legal.
Just?
Yeah, that is the maximum you can have for road legal. The front window is not, but it looks tinted because the rest of the cab,
everything else has been darkened out.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's the milestone tractor. It came offline July last year.
Yeah.
So that was then the official, and it was launched to some of the press guys when it came offline.
Yeah.
And it's been sitting in the showroom in Basildon ever since. So we thought we'd bring it out today.
Bring it out on special occasion. So last year, you hit 2 million tractor.
Yeah.
Last year in July 2024.
Yeah.
Was it also 60 years of Basildon last year as well?
So last year. So 1964 to 2004 was 60 years of Basildon. Yeah. We did have a special tractor to celebrate that as well.
Right. That was the flower power sort of one.
The psychedelic tractor, as we call it.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah. So that was the launch to 60. This is obviously for the 2 millionth anniversary as well. So
I'll not lie, I know which one I prefer in terms of paint job.
Because it's blue.
Because it looks like a cool blue as well.
Yeah. Candy apple blue. Let's get the term right.
I mean, it's not to be sniffed at. It's not to be overlooked in terms of the achievement of what you've actually done at Basildon, is it?
No,
really?
No, exactly.
And people, you do hear a lot of people sort of, they have a bit of a downer on British manufacturing and British engineering. Yeah. But we still do a lot.
We do a very lot. Yeah.
We don't have to look too far. We look to you guys, and you've hit 2 million.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of manufacturers can say that out of one plant, is there?
And when you start to look into the plant, the interesting thing is there's a lot of people that work in the plant whose family have worked in the plant as well. So they're kind of father or their uncle or whatever. And there's a lot of passion in that plant to build tractors. And the passion is still there. 60 years later, it's still there.
That's it. So what's currently coming out of Basildon in terms of your models now?
So for New Holland, we build for the UK market.
Yeah.
We will build all of the T6 range.
Yeah.
So anything from a T6 155 up to a T6 180. And then all of what we call a short wheelbase range. So this is what this is. So that would be a T7 190, a T7 210, and then a T7 225, which is what this is.
Right.
Yeah.
Got you.
So that all comes out of Basildon now.
Right, that's what you're looking after.
We also produce the equivalent sister tractor out of there in the same platform. So Basildon, in effect, produces this platform of tractors.
Got you.
In both,
right.
both
I
colours.
see what's happening now, yeah, spot on. And what would you say, I'll test your history knowledge now.
This could be bad.
This could be tricky, could be interesting. But what would you say some of the most popular models out of Basildon? I mean, the ones that spring to my mind, 7840 coming out of there, TS 115,
7810.
7810 obviously.
Yeah. So that type of tractor. Recently, it'd be the T6 180. That's a real key volume so far, with a dynamic command transmission, and the T7 210 and the 225 are popular tractors for us as well.
So in terms of a theme, then, that's what Basildon does. It does the bread and butter all-round tractor.
Basildon's DNA stems back to the, as I call it, the Ford 7000. The Ford 7000 was the first turbocharged tractor. Yeah. High horsepower, low weight.
Yeah.
That's the DNA.
That's
of
that
Basildon.
one, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly that. The T6 180, high horsepower, low weight. Yeah. Same as this.
And all those ones that we mentioned in between, they all stuck with that philosophy, didn't they?
Correct.
Pretty much.
Yeah, exactly that. So that's the DNA of that.
Which is why I really still love some of those older ones, your 7840, your 7810s.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, David, thank you very much for that.
That's okay.
Cracking achievement, really.
It is indeed, yeah.
Absolutely spot on. We shall now move on, see what else we can find. Right, folks, on to the Case IH stand at LAMMA 2025, and we're going big. We're going big this time with the introduction of the new AF10 combine from the Red brand. So to talk us through it, we've got Kuhn O'Leary. You'll have seen him in a couple of our previous episodes, one we did last year in the yellow corner with the CR11 out in the field, which was just mega impressive. So now it's the turn of the red machine. So Kuhn,
yes,
we'll do a whirlwind tour, shall we? Do you want to take us through it? I mean, for a start off, we've got the AF10 here, but what's in this new AF combine range?
So new AF combine range that we're looking at here, this is obviously the AF10. This is the biggest that we're going to have available in Europe off the AF range. We also have an AF9 coming to market. So an AF9 will be a smaller engine, smaller grain tank, smaller unloading auger. But we'll get onto that in a minute as we start to walk around. So yeah, AF10 range, what's new? We're probably going to start to walk around in a second. Basically, this has been redesigned from the ground up.
This isn't what you've got in terms of like the 9260 beefed up at all.
No.
This is brand new on top of that, is it?
The main thing you're going to find is the same as what we're sitting inside in the cab. So we'll start with the cab. So in the cab, we've got two Pro 1200 screens. You got your harvest command, and all that is just automation done from the seat. And just making it easier for the operator. So we got a new seat in there now, a lot more comfortable. With that, well, not even a lot more comfortable, we actually made a lot more updates on it. So we've got heated and cooled seats. We also have massage seats on that now as well.
Oh, lovely.
So again, it's we're just focusing on operator comfort. Obviously, a lot of operators spend many hours inside these machines over the course of a season. So
absolutely,
you need it to be as nice as possible.
Spot, so we'll go from the front.
Go from the front,
Go for it. So, feeder house.
So feeder house.
Looks massive.
Feeder house is massive, yes. So one thing you're going to notice as we go along, so what would have been on the previous axial flows is the actual header drive would have come down at the, we'll call it the right hand side as we look at it here now.
That would have gone down there.
Would have come down here, so it would have come down here and then obviously come out to join your PTO for your header.
Right,
You'll notice on this one it actually comes down the left-hand side.
Okay.
Right. So it comes down the left-hand side, and we can actually see the shaft as we. So if we look up along here, you'll see the shaft. That shaft comes down, and then it just joins an actual a 90-degree gearbox down here, which brings it then straight across through the feeder house for your header drive.
Any particular reason why you've gone from left side to right side?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And it's a good topic, right? So something that unfortunately for health and safety we're not allowed up there, the old engine, engine bay. But anyhow, if we go up to the engine is actually located at an angle. right? And so the main reason for this is the actual power efficiency.
Right.
Okay. So efficiency of power, having that, having the engine down at an angle, we're not losing any power by trying to change direction or minimize the changing of direction of the actual of the power. So the engine at the same angle that that shaft is, and also that the angle that the rotor is at.
Right.
So again, the engine goes back out to a CVT gearbox, goes either side and comes down then at the same angle.
So it's a lot more smoother flow of power and more efficient, effectively.
Exactly. And so one thing you'll notice is our AF9, so the smaller one,
the little brother to this,
the 13-litre engine has actually got less horsepower than our 9260 series at the moment.
Right.
But with that, then it's using the power more efficiently.
Yes.
So
it's making more of it.
Exactly. It makes use of what it got.
Which begs the question: what's going to happen with like the 9260 series and that sort of stuff?
Well, look, at long term, who knows? But at the moment, there is no plans to do anything too drastic, shall we say? But yeah. So again, going on to efficiency. So just a few different points. Then, so we actually have a shaft comes out the end of the rotor. So you'll see
right at the front there.
Right at the front, just below where it says actual flow on it. You'll see there's an actual gearbox, and what that's doing is there's a crop flow. There's a crop flow beater, basically, an accelerator, shall we say.
Right.
And what that's doing is just matching the speed of the straw from the feeder house into the actual rotor.
Right.
So it's actually surprising, but the amount of damage that can actually be done in that area is, if the straw is being pulled before it can actually be released, that's what it's going to do.
So it's smoothing out that transition.
Again, exactly.
Right.
So it's smoothing out the transition to ensure good straw flow, easy straw flow, and improve your straw quality overall.
And which would start at the new, the draper headers, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
If it was here, obviously it's a big thing. You can't just quite fit everything on the stand.
Yeah, and something got to give, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because it all starts with that, doesn't it? You get that presentation right, heads first feeding, all that lot, and then smoothly into the...
No, you're right. To come down here for the actual track side of all, we've got suspended tracks, very similar tracks to if not identical tracks to what's on the actual 9250 range or 9260 range, and even all the other 260 ranges that you have.
So you've got some giving there in terms of suspension.
you can see the two rams either side, so that's all suspension. So you've got suspended tracks, but also they do a lot of oscillation as well, so they can turn left and right. Again, just for operator comfort. We do on this offer uprated tracks, and then you have to go in conjunction with four-wheel drive. You can actually get 40k, and it's very comfortable down the road.
Really,
I can fully vouch for that one.
I'm gonna say you did some bloody miles last year, didn't you?
Yes. So these tracks, this is 32-inch tracks, so they're middle of the road. So we're going 32-inch tracks. You go 28 and 28, 32, and I think 38 as well. So they go big, over 4.5 meters. These here is 3.8.
So on the 32s, it's 3.8.
And that will be, I should imagine, that'll be the overall standard track that I would recommend for people, and that will be the one that'll be the most popular. This is leaving at 3.8 meters wide. Yeah. It's a good footprint on the ground. Do you know what I mean? It's the best all-round. It's the best happy medium. Obviously, you're going to have to focus on keeping your width down, but making sure you're spreading the weight.
That's it.
Yeah, 32, that's where I'm going to be focusing myself.
Speaking of popularity, what sort of width head are we talking to go well with an AF10?
Yeah, no, good question. So from that side, you're going to be looking, I would say, between a 41 and a 50. A lot of that's going to depend on the farm, it's going to depend on the crops, it's going to depend on anything in between. And it depends what's happening as well. So I would say between a 41 and a 50. I personally would probably be looking to run a 45 on it, just for overall ease across transportation and whatnot. And, but it just depends. Again, it depends what the farmer, what they actually want to, what they want to do, and what their fields suit as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Every situation is different, isn't it?
Yeah. No, definitely.
Moving up then.
Moving up, so we're going to go look at the rotor next. So this is the biggest single rotor on the market at the moment, so we call it our AF XL rotor. It is 3.6 meters long, so it is
she's a monster.
Yeah, so it's basically two extra concaves long.
Yeah,
is the easiest way of looking at it. We're offering full 360 degree of separation. So if you actually look at the very top, you'll see there's actually some slotted holes in it where the grain can still come out at the top. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But obviously, so the front part where you can see the red at the moment, your small wire concaves, that is where your threshing is done. Yeah. That's where we're trying to get crop on crop to get separate, to get the crop loose. And then as you go back, then you'll see that we're trying to get the crop out, so get the crop and the grain into into a different.
So it's pretty much from the red zone onwards.
Yeah.
It's all separation.
It's all
at that point,
separation.
pretty much.
Exactly. Yeah. So the percentage as well. So just above that, you see I've got our cage fins. So there's a little red bit. So we can actually change the amount of rotations. So the red with the linkage that you can see on it, that is changing the amount of rotations that the crop does. So between 3 and 6, basically. So if you want to hold the crop in there, or you want to get it out. So if it's again, why would you hold the crop in there? Harder separation. Why would you get the crop out quicker? Easy separation. The quicker you get it out, obviously the more output you're going to have in a day. You can get a bit more crop through.
And that's just altering the angle of the veins inside there.
Exactly.
Basically.
So you think like a screw thread, basically.
That's it,
It's the easier way of describing it. How many threads the crop does before it reaches the end of the rotor.
You're basically altering the rifle of that barrel, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. And that's all done through the cab, depending on the operator as well.
Is that diameter the same as what you've had before?
No. So it's now a 30-inch. The actual rotor itself is bigger.
Right.
So the rotor is a 30-inch rotor now. So again, it just helps with the traction separation. So one thing you're going to see in here as well is, and we'll touch on it a bit more when we go back, but there's the actual black tray. We'll do it when we get back there. You can actually see it better. We'll go up in the back of the combine. We'll be able to see it in there, right? So returns are done this side as well. Now the returns are landed in at the left-hand side, but onto the grain pan, and they have the full sieves to go back over.
Right.
We have just short of 9 meters squared of sieve area in these now as well. So it's like 8.78 or something near that, but it is huge. It's huge.
Way up from before.
Absolutely massive, yeah.
And it is, sorry, just while we're sort of down here looking in the guts of the combine.
Yeah.
Obviously, compared to the big yellow machine, the CR11, obviously this is single rotor, sticking with single rotor with the Case IH brand. Particularly in Europe, we have seen the AF11 twin rotor in, is it North America and Australia?
Yeah, no,
they're
North
getting
America,
that. But for Europe, they're getting single. Obviously, CR's twin rotor. Around those rotors, are these combines based on a very similar platform, effectively? Yeah.
Yeah, so a very similar platform. They both operate under the very similar platform.
Right.
But again, if you got the technology right, then why waste it? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it'll be very similar.
Right, got you. And these red ones will come out of Grand Island, do they, in America?
Yeah. So red ones will be American built. Yeah.
Right. Got you. Right. Enough political stuff. Let's carry on.
Yes. Crack on back here. So new tires, as you can see, they're the same size as nearly Optim tires now. The VFs are big, but again, just helping that. So these are all 4-wheel drive. We do have your new steering axle, new axle on the back of this, so we can turn on it effectively on a sixpence. You can see some like drop arm type wishbone things that are sitting here. So basically how that operates is as we turn left and right, what it does is it brings the tires away from the side body of the combine.
All right.
And base just helps you turn in circles. So you can actually do your 45-foot header, 40-foot header. You can still go up and down all day long.
Come right back on yourself, no problem.
And again, it's just for a bit more simplicity, really. But one thing you will see down the whole side of the combine is, well, it's nearly the lack off, but where is everything? Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's it, and that's kind of a famous axial flow thing, is it? You look at the side of the combine, as we've just been doing, there's nothing there.
It's simplicity.
You're straight to the rotor, aren't you?
Exactly. It's simplicity, it's ease of access to every single part of the combine, and with that then, it also less areas for dust and whatever else to build up on, and they are a very clean combine. And again, we'll see if we can go up top in a second, but up the top we have the whole, it's enclosed area. We've got 3 fans up there, they're blowing it all through. It's a very clean environment, you know what I mean, over the course of a day. Different chopper on the back than you will be used to with the axle flows.
That's it, with like the 9 series, you were bringing in the Redicop system to try and manage the...
So we've now went with our own, well I say our own system, but it's no longer a Redicop system. So we've had this chopper spreading upwards of 60 foot to be.
Really? It'll do that?
It's impressive. But obviously we ran 50-foot headers, 45-foot headers last year, and it is more than well capable to...
it's on top of the job.
It's, absolutely on top of the job. So no more integral chopper. Inside at the end of the road we do have a beater now. So it's actually a beater with a concave. And we can look inside, but I don't know how well the light will be. But if we look inside, we'll actually see, so there's a beater and a concave, and then there's a black tray underneath it.
Right.
So there's a black plastic tray, and that shakes as well. What that does, it actually brings, so anything that comes out at the very end is brought back to the front of the back to the grain pan to be brought back over the sieves.
All
so
right.
even if it comes out at the very end of the rotor or comes out in that last beater, it is brought back again to the grain pan to still come back through the sieves, to give it every chance to be processed. And again, it's things like this. It's just everything's in control of.
And what are we talking with losses on this bad boy?
Look, at the end of the day, you're going to keep your losses as low as possible. What we've had this year, what we've had out in the field, has been 0.2, 0.3.
Right. Not bad.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, different crops are going to vary, everything's going to vary, conditions are going to vary. This is me in field, real life, UK conditions, we've been having 0.2, 0.3. Do you know what I mean?
That's it.
Again, you can say what you want, but it's there. It's there.
Spot on. Shall we have a...
Yes, let's go.
Shall we get Cameron and Chris diving in here? This should be good.
So, we'll see the beater. So this is the beater I was on about.
Yeah.
Right? Below that then you can see the concave.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And then this tray. So the tray shakes its way back forward to the front, and with that then it comes back out of the grain pan, you can see up the very front, and comes back over the sieves.
Right.
All right. From the sieves we have 2 clean grain cross augers that bring it across to the clean grain elevator, and 1 returns auger.
Yeah.
Again, it is capable of doing... We've had one of these machines in Czech Republic doing maize, been able to put through 175 ton an hour of maize.
Ooh.
So the capacity, it is designed for the capacity and the capabilities of every condition.
Right.
But that's exactly that, 175 ton an hour you're moving some crop.
Definitely. And how are you getting on with managing, keeping everything even over the sieves?
So it's all done through sensors. We've got a new, we no longer have a self-leveling sieve, shall we call it. We now have a sieve on the side of this, and basically got sensors, and it's a cross-shake system basically, and it'll make sure that the crop is even across all the sieves as well. So, just advance. We're advancing the technology every time.
Moving it on and moving it on.
Exactly. So that is, I think, everything in here. So yeah, we'll continue on around here. So with these is 1500 litre fuel tank on these now. So a bigger fuel tank than you used to from 260 series. AF9 1300 litre fuel tank. We have 20,000 litre grain tank,
right,
which is 16.6 ton.
Yeah.
So that's 16.6 ton stationary of wheat. So you get moving, cutting wheat, you're going to get an extra. So we'll do some quick maths, but anyhow, so you got 20,000 litre grain tank and 210 litres a second unloading.
Yeah.
So you're talking in and around 100 seconds to unload the 16.6 ton.
Don't miss.
Yes, don't miss. But a few points on that then, right? So you're talking about 100 seconds to unload it. That's 16.6 ton. In that 100 seconds, you're going to have cut probably at least a ton at a very minimum.
Yeah.
So you are talking somewhere in the region, probably 18 ton.
Yeah, by the time you finish unloading.
Yeah, by the time you're finished unloading. Obviously, we spoke about the unloading auger, 210 litres a second. We can turn that down to a half rate. And just as a good place we're at right now, so you can see these 2 pulleys up here.
Yeah.
These 2 pulleys up here are 2 cross augers. So we can actually turn one of them off, and that'll give us half rate. So instead of 210 litres a second, 105.
Just calm things down a bit.
Exactly.
Top off that chase a bit.
When you're trying to fill a wheelbarrow or something. But no, honestly, it'll be So it's just for topping off trailers, topping off chase bins and everything else. So this is what we're speaking about again. So this is your clean grain elevator. It says 200 ton an hour. Slightly over 200 ton an hour capabilities.
That'll do.
Exactly.
Monstrous,
so that will. When you see this, actually, it's big.
Yeah.
It's a big machine.
Yeah.
This here, the little white box we can see is an NIR sensor. So for people who are doing a lot of milling wheat, a lot of barley, malt and barley and whatnot, you can get all your proteins, your starches, all of that done through
so
you can map it through the field.
Yeah.
You can also then take this NIR sensor out, and our precision farming guys will actually be able to show you, but there's an actual box you can put that into and sample then the grain from the shed.
Right.
So you can use this all summer and map your fields out.
Yeah.
Harvest finishes, come to the winter time, you can actually take this out of here, put it into the box, put the grain on top of it, and you can check
Use it again?
You can actually check it all. So again, a huge benefit to your farm, really.
Yeah.
So then from there, I'm not quite sure what else we've got.
That's it.
James.
No, spot on that. But like even from this side, it's still open on this side.
Exactly. As well. It's still very open. And one cool thing from this side. I mean, you can see over here that we do have one belt that actually blocks our view. we've got a handle.
Right.
You can actually pull the handle up, drop the belt off if you need to go in and change.
Just in case you need that one belt out of the way.
The only one thing that we have even blocking it, they have a solution for us, and it's a quick and easy. Pull it up, pull the belt off, in you go, drop it back on, and away you go.
Send it out of the way.
So again, thought of everything. Quick, easy, and simple.
Spot on. What horsepower is this one again?
775.
This is 775, this one.
Yeah.
Right.
But the AF9 is 634. So,
right, got you.
From
and that 775, that's max horsepower, that is it?
Max horsepower, yeah. From a Cursor 16, so 15.9 litre engine, and the AF9 is 12.9, Cursor 13.
Right, got you. So. And that you'll have that horsepower all the time. There's no like boost front loading or anything like that. It's just all that all day long.
So you'll see on the screen it'll go 100% up to when it needs at 107, 120%.
Yeah.
When you're up to over 100%, your if obviously the revs come down a small bit, and that gives you your boost then, and shows the. But yeah, it's available all the time.
That's it. And we've got all this automation on here for
harvest command.
That's it. Yeah.
Everything. Yeah.
So where you can put in your priorities of losses.
So you can go forward speed. You can actually even do it tons an hour. So I know we've spoke about this machine like this and its capacity and capabilities. If you've got a grain dryer that's not really able for, 60 ton an hour, 40 ton an hour, you can put that into the screen, and the machine will operate in the most efficient way to make sure that you are only doing that an hour.
Right.
So you're not overloading grain dryers, but you're still combining. Yeah. And with that, then it'll actually put its focus, obviously making sure you don't overachieve or underachieve, but put it into your grain quality and everything else.
Right, so you could go 60 ton an hour is enough for today. Yeah. That's, we're maxing out the, the farm end of it. That'll do us, and it'll look after everything else.
It'll take care of everything else. So it's so many different options. Again, you can have it that, the rain's coming tomorrow.
Performance option.
Give her the beans,
yeah. Go for it. And that'll be based on engine load and...
Yeah, so it is, and it'll do everything. So you can focus on, say you want grain quality to be the point topic, it'll take care of that as well. Right. And you can still make your manual adjustments, you can still drive it manually if you want. So it just depends what you as the operator want, really. But
spot on. Well, that was a great overview, a great flavour of the new the AF10 combine from Case IH. Hopefully, fingers crossed, if we have an half-decent season in 2025, we'll get out and see it, and we'll do our thing.
We'll do our thing. We'll have a laugh, that's for sure.
We'll have a laugh, and hopefully we'll get some information across while we're doing it. All good. Well, Kuhn, as ever, absolutely spot on that. Thank you very much. Right, there's often a lot of talk about legendary machinery, but we do actually have a bona fide brand new Legend series from Stewart Trailers. So we've got the main man himself. We've got Mr. James Stewart with us now. He's going to talk us through this new series of trailers that you've brought to LAMMA 2025. So, James, we'll dive in. What is this Legend series all about?
What the Legend's all about is just really a revamp and improvement of the GX range we had. We introduced the GX range 15 years ago.
Is it?
15 years since we put GX out.
Yeah.
So over that time there's been different bits and pieces that we wanted to improve on. And just through experience, bits we needed to change. And it's a big start in the front. One of the things that has changed, drawbar heights and tractors now vary greatly.
Right.
As the tractor wheels are a bit bigger, drawbar heights have changed.
Yeah.
So we need to find a better way of adjusting the drawbar height so the trailer sits level.
That's right, yeah.
It's really important that it sits level.
So you don't get any nose weight or rear weight.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the problem. So we've redesigned the whole front. So more adjustment. The other thing that's happening is more and more hydraulics on trailers, so we've made the whole Susie stock in the front much bigger, so there's more space for more hoses and
that's it, rather than sort of, as you see on some others, just trying to dangle pipes through various holes and things like that. Where you can find a spot for them, really, isn't it?
Exactly. So we've got prepared for that. This piece now bolts on rather than welded on, so when you do actually crunch it, you can unbolt it.
Unbolt it, straighten it, swap it, put it back on.
Front mud flaps, one of those things that were an optional extra. Now everybody's wanting them, so we just made them as a standard feature. So every Legend will come with front mud flaps and a galvanised bracket, which is bolted on.
Just one of those simple things, isn't it? Just stopping muck flying up under here and corroding under here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's a bracket in the back because faster tractors, the things just fold up.
Yeah.
So bracket in the back to stop that happening. New front, with a completely new lighting system. All of the lights are brand new, whole new wiring system with sealed junctions. There's no open junctions, there's no old junction boxes with screws and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
It's all super seal connections.
Yeah.
front marker light with front, side and rear. They all come standard with a work light, reverse light.
All right, just back of here.
The back of
and Chris can squeeze in there.
So it works through your side lights.
Yeah.
Put your side lights on, tip the trailer a few inches, then those will come on.
So as you're tipping the trailer, it clicks a switch, does it?
Yeah, that switch over there.
Right, that switch in the middle there.
Yeah, over the side.
Right, and then these will, if you've got your side lights on, these will come on.
These will come on.
When you start tipping.
Now the beauty is, when you put the body down, they go off.
Yeah.
So even if the driver's on the phone or not paying attention,
yeah,
his reverse lights go off.
That's it.
Yeah, but they're at the front and they're shining down the side of the trailer.
That's it. You can see all those stanchions and posts that you're trying to back round in the dark, round the yard.
Exactly. Because if you have them at the back of the trailer, you light up the back of the trailer, but you can't see anything.
No, that's it. Yeah.
So you need to see down the side.
Yeah.
So that's standard. Then in here, we've put bulkhead fittings in all the hoses. Because if you did break a hose at the front, previously you had to take it right.
That's it, you drag it all the way.
Aye.
Yeah.
So we've now put bulkhead fittings in here. And when we're here, on the back door we now have a audible alarm when the door is closing. There's an alarm buzzes.
Yeah.
So we've got our switch in.
Get your fingers out and that sort of thing.
Yes, exactly. So that's what's all incorporated in here. So that's really what's happened at the front of the trailer. Now in here we've got, the other thing we put on the back is a rear view camera.
Right.
So every trailer is now going to come with a camera, as standard.
Standard?
Standard.
Right.
So we've gone
You don't do things by halves, do you?
Well, we thought we might as well do it when we're doing it, do it right.
Yes, exactly.
So it's 2 years ago since we built the first one.
Right.
Yeah, so we did all this 2 years ago, and then we went to one of our good customers, and he did his best with it.
Yeah. Tried to wreck it.
Try see it all work.
Yeah.
So.
And you found out a few other little bits and pieces along the way?
You know, we'll listen to people.
Yeah.
We'll listen to our customers. Well, what do you want and what you don't want. So it was then a challenge. The biggest challenge was trying to find a camera which was wireless but actually worked from the back of the trailer to the tractor. Because the last thing on earth we wanted was an extra cable to go with the tractor. So we've got the wee box here has a monitor on it, so we've just made a wee handy.
Right. So you just take that out.
A wee handy box, and every trailer will come with that. And in there is
check that out.
All the kit.
So you just pop that in cab.
In cab.
And away you go.
And away you go. And then when you're not using it, you can either leave it at the tractor or put it back in here.
That's it.
There we go.
Just like that.
We've put it
ready for the next person who hooks up to it.
Yes. Now we put it in here so the top chassis comes down top of it. So
of course that'll be
random
about there, won't it?
Some random can't come and take it away.
There's a few of those little randoms about.
Now, it would be super good if we could make our camera work with all the tractor screens, but generally it's just impossible.
Just the compatibility of it. It's just all over the shop.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt in the future something will happen, but we've got to start somewhere.
Yeah. That's
so
it.
we've got that. The great thing is means the guy in the tractor seat can see at the back of the trailer if the door is closing. The door is closed, there's nobody there.
Yeah.
So if he's, it's, when you think about it, it's a fairly dangerous place, the hydraulic door closing. So if there's an alarm there, the person in the back can hear it, and the tractor driver can see
it
if there's anybody going around. And that's the whole idea. That we've got to be a responsible supplier. We've got to make stuff that's safe. It's not just trying to avoid costs. We've got to be safe. And this is what it's all about. We're trying to put all this stuff in.
Well, that's it. And this is the thing. It's a crazy thing sometimes that people will be very happy to spend tens and tens and tens, well, hundreds of thousands on the thing at the front, the tractor, and they'll run around with a bit of a rough trailer, won't they? Where really the trailer's got to be up to spec to match the thing on the front, hasn't it? Which you guys have all done forever, really. Back in the when you're trying to match the early fast track sort of days.
Exactly, and that's what it's all about. It's just continually improving, but on the back of our mind is we've got to be a responsible supplier, and it's not just about knocking this thing out as cheap as possible, and if we incorporate a wee extra cost, but it's safer, it must be the thing.
It's worth doing.
Because when you have a serious accident on farm, everything stops.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop for a day, it stops for as long as it takes to fix it, and so we can eliminate one more accident. So it's the most dangerous industry of any.
Yeah.
And we've got to do our bit to try and make it a little bit better.
Exactly.
And it is absolutely shocking, the accident rate on farms. It is terrible. So I feel we need to do our little bit to try and help that.
Come on.
So that's it. Other wee thing, we've changed our ladder.
Right.
It used to be out here, and big tall guy like you at the show, you all bumped your head. So it now folds down.
Yeah.
Out. It folds down when you need it, and up there, out of harm's way, when it's not. So that was it.
Spot on. And is chassis different, or has that stayed the same? Or?
Basically, the chassis in the box has stayed the same.
Yeah.
They've been working well. They come standard, obviously, with the commercial axles, commercial suspension, 560 tyres. That's all. Well, the tyres is not standard, but so many options on tyres.
Yeah.
But that part hasn't changed because it always worked so well, and was so rugged. It stood up to everything. There wasn't a great need to change.
Yeah.
We did make the box 2 inches wider, so we've now got an extra half cube in our trailer. So every little helps.
Absolutely.
So a wee bit more. So we've changed very little there. Then, as we come back, we've added an extra side marker light. There was always one here, but we've added a second one.
Right.
And they will come on and flash as indicators. When you turn left, the side markers will then
All right, they'll act as an indicator.
indicate as well.
Right.
So it's a little safety feature.
Yeah.
On a busy road, you've got more. How often do you get an accident with somebody turning right and people ignoring you?
Oh.
So
I've had it happen.
Exactly.
I've had it happen.
So that's why we've put on 2 of them. Then at the back, we've put on another wee side marker light on a wee stalk. So it's a fairly flexible item.
So you can maybe graze a couple of feet.
Exactly. So we've got that just to help the tractor driver see where the back of the trailer is.
Yeah, you can see the corners. Yeah.
It's a brand new light we've got with progressive indicators, and we've got built in the smart load. Because LEDs use so little power, you don't always get your repeater and the tractor working. We did put on a secondary smart load device previously to make it work.
Right.
A lot of people don't. And then your tractor driver doesn't know.
Doesn't know if they're working.
But they're built into these lights.
Right.
So just another nice wee feature.
Does that effectively just put a little bit more load on the tractor's electric?
Yes.
Right.
And that's all it is.
I never even thought of that.
And that's all it is.
Yeah.
Then new high-level lights.
Right.
That's a stop tail indicator.
Yeah.
One them, but just new again. Fresh beacon, which does 180 degrees rather than straight out the back. But the other wee feature we've done to it is we can switch it off.
The beacon.
Your beacon.
Right.
So harvester drivers in dark nights, harvester drivers up there, he's getting dazzled to bits. When the guys are doing maize or working late at night. It's the sort of thing people come back to us and said, that's really annoying. Can you do something about it?
Yeah.
So we'll put a switch in there for that. Then the hinge bar at the back, we've changed it. It used to be full width, but people wanted to raise a number plate and stuff like that, so we've changed it to 2 shorter pins.
Right.
Same diameter, same bushes.
Yeah.
But just giving us a bit more space for putting stuff in.
Yeah.
And then probably one of the last things, we've put on wheel nut indicators so that it's easy to see if your wheel nuts have become slack.
Right.
Because that's the really simple thing to do, but it's just it's another wee cost. But if we can stop a wheel coming off one day, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So that's the main things. But it was introduced before the Legend, but our paint now is absolutely fantastic. We changed our paint in 2020. We've changed our whole painting system. We started shot blasting everything, and we changed our paint, and it allowed us to go to a much better paint because we're shot blasting.
Right.
And now we don't need stone chip on the front because the stuff doesn't chip.
And it doesn't chip, right?
And if it does, it's only the tiny little spot that will rust.
Yeah.
It will not creep. The paint will not move.
It won't sort of work its way under and outwards and blister and...
No.
Right.
And because we do our Hardox range, the Pro Series, the Hardox material will flex a lot more But of course, when the metal flexes, the paint has got to flex too. And what we were finding was that then the paint was cracking, but the metal would go back to straight.
Right.
So we need to find a paint that would then move and come back.
Yeah.
And that's what we got on here.
That's what you got now.
So it's an absolutely super finish. So it's all very well having nice axles and nice welding, but if you don't paint it,
exactly,
kind of wasted your time. So the paint, I think, is as important as the size of the rams or the axles or anything else.
That's it.
So that's the Legend trailer. It's just improvement on the GX. We thought that was fairly good, but we've come up another step.
Good man. No, good stuff. So yeah, a lot based around safety, really, I suppose. That's the main key thing with this in its evolution.
It is. Safety has been a big driver.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. And I just said earlier on, we have got to make this industry safer. You know, it is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know,
and everyone's got to.
Everybody's got to do a little
make
bit.
an effort.
Yeah. So it's, you know, if we can do a tiny little bit in there, that's what it's all about.
Cracking.
So
James,
that's it. Excellent.
thank you very much for your time.
No.
Great to see you. It's been a while.
No, it's been brilliant. No, so that's been good. So, thank you.
Spot on. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you.
Right, folks, we move on. We now find ourselves on the Kuhn stand at LAMMA. We are with Ed Fanshaw, and he's going to talk about, I suppose, the latest technology updates to your Optimer disc harrow, which you've had the Optimer a little bit now, haven't you?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
So just tell us about the Optimer range before we dive into the technology package. Set the scene for us. Come on.
Right, so the Optimer range, this is our disc harrows. So we got the range from, mounted range from 4 to 6 metres, and then in the trailed range we go from 4 now up to 12.5 metres.
Right.
And then
that's it, because we saw it at the big XL event.
The big XL at Serials.
You do big, don't you?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And then disc-wise, this is our XL model, so this is our bigger disc, so 620mm discs.
Right.
And then we've got the L range, which is slightly smaller at 510mm discs.
Right, so you got big disc, little discs. Who would want what suits what?
So what we're actually seeing is a move towards the bigger discs, and the reason for that is, although you're not always going to want to work to the 15 centimetre that you can get down to with these, is in the harder conditions you've got the more weight, and also you have the flexibility. If you do want to work deep, you have the chance to do that with these bigger discs.
Right, because it was funny, isn't it? Because once upon a time ago, not that long ago, we were sort of heading towards little discs, high speed rotation sort of thing.
Yep.
And now it's back to a more weighty disc.
Yes.
For that, I suppose more penetration, you might say.
We've seen it in the last couple of years where you get harder conditions.
Yeah.
You just want that extra weight, and it just pulls in a lot better with the bigger discs.
Yeah. Is a bigger disc more versatile as well? Especially, is it better for a wider range of conditions, a wider range of weather patterns, you might say?
Yes.
Well, we know what those are like in the UK.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's exactly what we're seeing is that versatility with the bigger disc.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are seeing that move towards these larger diameter discs.
Right. And what are we mounting these on then?
So we've got one of our features here is we're a single arm disc holder, sealed for life bearings.
So we can forget them, can we?
Yeah, forget about those now.
Cool,
that. And then that single arm, what that's allowing for is more flow through the machine. So if you're going in high levels of trash, cover crops, etc., we've got more flow, more space for the stuff to flow through the machine. And that's also helped with our underbeam clearance, so we've got the largest underbeam clearance on the market.
That is big, that.
So yeah, it just allows.
What sort of size is that?
700 mil.
All right.
To the
off top of his head.
Yeah.
Boom.
I read it before you turned up. So.
Come on. Right. What have we got rear-wise?
So on
here, roller-wise.
Here we've got our HD liner on. So this is one of our most popular rollers, and the other option we'll put on here is a W, so that's a soil-to-soil contact.
Oh, yes.
So it's your channel roller. So this is a real versatile roller. This will go in.
This one is.
Yeah, it will go in most conditions. Yeah.
Right. So again, this would be very popular. This type, would it?
Yeah. Between this and our W roller would be the two main rollers we'll see. Yeah.
Right. And what sort of size? You know, you mentioned you got a big range of sizes. What is your popular one at the moment?
6 metres, probably the most standard one.
Yeah.
It's suitable for most tractors. So anything from sort of 215 horsepower.
Right.
So a very common tractor on farm. So that's where we see the most numbers.
Yeah.
And then obviously we go all the way up to 12.5 metres now. So for your people that are doing controlled traffic on 12 metres, we now offer a machine that fits in with that. So. And
the thing is with that controlled traffic system is the combine headers, and the combines are getting bigger now.
Everything's getting bigger.
It's like just when you think you've caught up to these 12.5 metre machines, they've only gone to like 13, 15 metres now, haven't they? So I would imagine that's quite a bit of a cat and mouse game for the likes of you guys at Kuhn. It's like, Oh, where are you heading now?
Yeah, no, we've in our ProLander range, so our spring tine cultivator, we now got to 14 meters.
Yeah.
So we are still developing to get bigger and bigger as well.
Yeah. Good stuff. Right, so that is the nuts and bolts of the Optimer disc harrow. Talk us through the technology you can get on this.
Yes.
What can you do with it?
Yeah, so this new technology is called Smart Soil technology, and it's won the Gold Award and the Crop Innovation Awards here at LAMMA. So what that's allowing this machine now, so we've now turned this machine to isobus, and that is allowing us to put in prescription maps for variable depth. So you can, whether it's your soil type or your compaction, as you're moving along, you have a prescription map in there, and it'll adjust the depth as you go along. Right. So that's one feature of it.
So you're not over or underworking.
Yeah, so you get your fuel savings and obviously your working ground to the depth that you want to be working in different areas of the field.
Yeah.
The other feature this machine's got is it's got a disc on the rear, and what that's doing is working independently in the tractor, and it's judging the angle of the machine. So independently of what the tractor's doing, but if you're on a hillside or in different soil types and the machine pulls left or right, it feeds it back through the isobus, and then it will automatically either drop the front of the machine in more to pull it one way, or drop the rear of the machine in. So that's done on these front depth wheels or on the hydraulics on the packer.
So you're literally just tilting it front or
so
back?
So it'll automatically tilt it, so it'll realign the machine.
Yeah.
So if you're going on a hillside, they naturally will pull down the hill.
Right, yeah.
So it'll pull itself straight again.
Clever.
And then the third feature of it is our steady control system, which is our ground tracking on the wings. This is now all done through the isobus as well. So to get the consistency of the working depth across the entire width of the machine, it will automatically, it's got sensors in the wings, and it will know where, if it's lifting up because of compaction, it'll put more pressure onto that wing.
Right.
So it's keeping.
So it'll sense a pressure difference in the rams, basically.
Yeah, and then it'll adjust itself so it keeps that consistent working depth across the width.
Good stuff. And this smart soil technology, can you apply this tech package to some of your other cultivators, such as the Performer, for instance?
No, at the moment, this is so new. This machine arrived in the UK the day before Christmas Eve.
Right.
So it's that new into the range for the first time we've seen it here. It was launched at EMA last year. So at the moment, it's just on our discs, just on our Optimer range at the moment. Just on the 6 and 7.5 metre machines as it stands.
While you get to know the tech.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Well, Ed, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely spot on that. We better find some more stuff now, had we? Right, folks, now time to catch up with one of our top partners at LandPowerTV, which is Avon Tuning HD. And we've got the main man himself, we've got Mr. Gareth Jones. So what we're going to do, well, we'll have a bit of a catch up for a start, Gareth.
Yeah.
What have you been up to in the last 12 months since we last saw you in the tuning world?
Pretty much the same, still tuning, lots of ag. But probably this year the biggest change has been more plant. So we're doing a lot more plant. Quarry sort of machines. So that's probably the biggest change. We're sort of, ag's been really busy, but we're starting to see a lot more plant and construction vehicles coming through.
Right.
Demand for more power and things like that.
So you're sort of really spreading your wings in there, especially on the HD side of it.
Yeah.
Because obviously you're famous for your tuning of cars and
motorbikes and jet skis and that stuff. But the HD is growing massively. Yeah, cool. Huge demand.
Good stuff. And how are these people finding you, especially in the plant world? Where are they coming from? Where's the business coming from, you might say?
Definitely online, but it's huge amounts word of mouth.
Yeah.
Ag, HD world is all word of mouth. Everybody talks, so it's all word of mouth, really.
It.
Yeah.
And in terms of the coverage you've got in the UK, because it is significant, isn't it? So how many sort of agents have you got sort of dotted around now?
We've actually got about 160, 170 HD agents dotted around the world.
That's just HD agents?
That's just HD.
Right.
So about 350 agents in total when you combine the automotive side as well.
Right.
But HD, we're very strong UK and Ireland, but we've got 12 HD guys in Australia now. So yeah, it's really starting to branch out.
And they're pretty easy to find as well, as cameraman Chris found out when he was having something done to his pickup.
Oh, is that right?
So yeah, straight online, find the agent in the area.
Brilliant.
Job done. So there we go. Right, so that's a bit of an update. What we got going on the stand? What's happening? Because last year you had the tricked out van, which is well smart, and if you've never seen that, go and check out a big episode we did in Scotland.
That's right,
didn't we? A big tuning episode, which is great.
So we swapped the van for our tractor.
Tricked out tractor now.
So this is, it's funny enough, it's got the same paint job as the tractor, as the van.
It is cool.
So that is VW Indian Grey that we've painted it.
Right.
That is the
Just in case anybody needs to know, VW Indian Grey. Right.
Yeah. So we actually use this tractor. We use this for training. So we have this in our workshop. So if you're an agent or you're a potential agent, you come down to our workshop for training or for a demo on the remapping kit, we'll actually use this tractor. And we also use it for advanced diagnostic training and things like that. So we've got some cool stuff up in the wiring, up in the engine bay. We've modified the wiring so we can alter boost pressure, we can alter charge air temperature just by twisting some sensors in there.
All right.
We put some potentiometers in there and we can adjust stuff. So when agents are on the computer learning how to look at live data, interpret live data, we can fool them a little bit and modify some stuff.
Can you throw in some curveballs?
That's right, yeah,
like
that's
that
what we do.
Get them to try and find it and work it out, overcome it.
Exactly, yeah. Right. So that's what this is for. It's for training our agents how to diagnose tractors, how to remap tractors, etc.
Because I remember one of the things you were telling me when we were doing that big remapping feature was you got to work out the health of the tractor first.
Right.
That's the absolute first starting point before you do anything else.
Yeah. And the problem is that often a tractor can be unhealthy but has no fault codes. Because it has to operate. It will only.
I know how it feels.
It'll only throw a fault when it's operating outside of its normal range.
Yeah.
So it can have a fault, but it's not actually thrown a fault code. So you need to look at live data to sort of interpret the problem.
Right. So you need to know what you're looking for, really.
That's what we try and train. Yeah.
Right. Good stuff. So yeah, moving around. What else we got going on?
This is new this year. So this is our interactive. Well, actually, here's a map of where you can find our authorised agents. So that's our website, Avon Tuning HD. That's a brand new website, and you can go find your closest agent.
Yeah.
So you can see we're in North America, South Africa, Australia, Asia, obviously UK, Iceland, Europe.
Did you have any idea when you started Avon Tuning where it was going to be?
No.
Because it's nuts, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And how long is it now?
2010. I started it. Yeah. Just mobile remapping out the back of a Vauxhall Vivara.
Nice.
Yeah.
So out the back of a van to global business.
Well, yeah.
Come on.
Well, we're trying.
Fair play.
So this is our new interactive display, and it gives people the opportunity to come and try remapping. So we've got the two DimSport tools here. This is an OBD one, so it allows people to actually have a go at remapping something, try and understand how the process works. And even if they want to have a go at doing the more advanced, where you connect directly onto the ECU, we can show them how it's done. They can actually have a go and realise it's, as long as you have the right tools, the right training, the right systems, it's not actually that difficult.
Right, so this little rig that you've got here, it's ideal for showing potential agents, really,
That's right.
that are at the event.
That's right.
Is that what you're more when you're at an event like this, are you more looking for new agents, or are you just trying to spread the word? Or
two things: getting potential agents to come and see us, ag engineers, plant engineers, come and see us and hopefully join our network, but also end users. They can come and see us and find their closest agent, talk about what equipment they've got, what they want tuning, and it's great brand awareness.
Absolutely, yeah. And as we found out in that big remapping episode, it isn't just a case of sort of the old days and turn the wick up a bit and hope for the best. It's proper engineering, isn't it? It is proper engineering. You are mindful of the tractor as a whole, the back end of it, the gearbox limitations, the limitations of the whole driveline, really.
Yeah, quite right. Yeah. It's absolutely vital.
Yeah. And so like if I wanted to be an agent for Avon Tuning, what sort of qualities in an agent are you looking for? Because I'm assuming you're not just going to want any Tom, Dick and Harry poking around on tractors.
Well, professionalism.
Or machines.
Professionalism is key, because you're representing us and our brand. You must be experienced, must be trained, qualified. You need to have diagnostic equipment as well. If you don't, then we can supply it. But yeah, those are the sort of things we're looking at, professionalism and experience.
Right.
So you can actually have a go at remapping this ECU if you want.
Right.
If you want to have a go at it. So if we go to here, if we now, so this ECU is actually from this tractor.
Right.
So this is how it works. You click read, select the tractor. So most stuff can actually be done through the diagnostic port, but some ECUs on some models do need to be removed and connected on the bench. That's because they've got a high level of encryption on them, and this is one way of getting around the encryption. This wiring loom, this is what we call a universal pinout kit, to this ECU following those instructions.
Right, so this would be higher level than just plugging the OBD in.
Yeah, this is more advanced.
Right, so we've now got to find the right pins. So are all these colour coded?
They are not the ends.
Right.
The ends determine the size of the pin.
Right.
So on the power and the neg, this one, you can see the pins are quite big, so go for the blue.
So we've got one of these and one of them.
Yeah, the wires are the right colour.
Right, so we want one of them on there for a start.
The next one is what we call Ignition Live.
Right,
so that's the
first one, red.
First one, red.
Top line, there we go, that's that one. And then, look at you, cameraman Chris. Two things at once here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green. There we go.
There we go.
Flying, right, next job.
Once you've done that, you just quickly double check it. Yeah, looks good. Then you press OK. And it should, if you've done it right, read that ECU.
Right.
So let's see what happens.
So it's now having a look on it, see what's in there.
That's it. It's
that's
reading.
it. Oh, that's
well,
it.
It's not done it yet.
It's still reading.
It's identified it. I can see by the numbers that it's definitely talking to that ECU.
So that's a good start.
You've pinned it out correctly. Right. You haven't broken it. And it's away. And then what would happen, once this finishes reading, you would then upload it to our portal. So each agent has a specific login for a portal on our website.
Right.
Here we are. Log in. And then here you could upload the file. So once it's finished reading, you upload to our portal.
Right. Is this kind of like backing up the brain sort of thing?
So what that's doing right now, that's reading the ECU. It's taking a copy of that ECU, all the data inside
everything
it.
That's on
everything.
it.
It's taking a complete copy. It's not modifying it. It's just reading it, copying it, and saving it to the laptop.
Right.
Once you've done that, you upload it to our portal. So you select your vehicle on our portal. This is a completely custom portal for us. Only agents have logins to it. You then upload the map. You request your modification. You could even on tractors, we give you the ability to request what power increase you would like, because farmers can be very specific about what power they want.
Okay.
They might say, I only want a 20 horsepower increase.
Yeah.
So when you upload the map to our engineers, you put in the comments, 20 horsepower please, and then within 1 hour, but normally about 20 minutes, you'll get a file back from our engineers. You load it in the ECU, test it, and away you go.
Cool, Oz.
And that's also, the portal's also used for technical support. So if you've got any issues, you know, if you can't get this thing to read or write, you can request a call back from our engineers on the portal as well.
Cool. But more often than not, will it just be done through the OBD?
90% of tractors on the market can be done with this through the diagnostic
Right, and that's the dim sport, is
That's
it?
a dim sport tool.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. And then it's just more advanced levels going directly
It's only for ECUs that have a very high level of encryption.
Right.
At the moment, Tier 5 AGCO have very high levels of security.
Okay. Is that there to keep the lax if
Try and
you
stop
out?
it. Yeah,
right.
that's exactly right.
Okay,
yeah.
right. So they're fighting back.
They're trying. It's
to
a
a
cat
point.
and mouse game.
Is it? I bet it is quite interesting, kind of, sort of from your point of view versus the manufacturers. But like you were saying when we did that tuning feature, the remapping feature, the engines are more than capable of doing it, especially within a range. You'll have a horsepower range, it might go from 100 to 150, you'll have 5 models in there. You might as well get the bottom one.
I know.
Potentially.
You can see why they don't want us to do
this.
Yeah,
you can definitely see why.
Because they're charging maybe an extra 20k for the highest horsepower version, where we can come in and just do that for you for a fraction of that cost.
Voila.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Cool, well that's great. That's a great perspective from an agent's point of view. If we move to the back of this tractor, we've got one of that's another dim sport.
That is another dim sport dyno. So this one again has been customized to our colors. Again, indium grey, VW indium grey. So this is the single brake DF2TR dim sport dyno, capable of testing up to 330 horsepower.
All right.
This is basically the same technology as that was in the trailer version.
Yeah.
When we came to site in Scotland with yourself. It's exactly the same dyno, except the one that we use is a trailer version. This is what they call a workshop version, which is brilliant for, it's cheaper than the trailer, and it's brilliant for small workshops, main dealers, etc., that just want to PDI tractors. They want to use it for diagnostics or use it for before and after tuning testing as well.
Cool. And then, like you were saying, you say it was a single braking
That is
system.
a single brake, so it means it's got a single eddy brake.
Right, and the eddy brake, that's the kind of magnetic braking system, is it?
Correct. It's electromagnetic eddy brake that retards the tractor. That's how it retards the tractor.
Pulls it down.
Yeah.
That's where all the fun happens.
They also do a twin brake version. So it's basically two of these bolted together.
Yeah.
And that'll do 660 horsepower.
All right, so you just double it up effectively. Right.
Yeah. In essence, you could probably, Dimsport are very good, I don't think they've ever done it, but I suspect you could request it. There's no reason why you couldn't
go for
have
a triple.
And then you're
and a big fat bit of your shaft.
Yeah, a 990.
That's it. Cool as well. Finally then, sort of, where are you heading? Where is Avon Tuning HD heading?
Eastern Europe. We think there's a huge demand there. We've already got a few agents in Eastern Europe, and we believe that there's a massive demand over there for our services. In Western Europe, there's already a lot of Western European companies doing it.
Yeah.
But in Eastern Europe, there's not so much. So we want to tackle that. So we're thinking maybe Agritechnica in October this year.
Cool.
Maybe.
Right.
But yeah, we're just, UK and Ireland is almost full.
Yeah.
We still have some areas that we'd like to fill, but I think Eastern Europe's our next
That's
target.
The way. All right. Spot on. Well, Gareth, as ever, thank you very much for your
mate.
catch up. It's been absolutely spot on. And we shall now move on, see what else we can find at this at the event. Right, folks, now time for a bit of hedge cutter action on the Razorback stand here at LAMMA 2025. We've got another main man. We seem to be landing well with all the main people at this event. We've got Mr. Martin Lowell from the manufacturer here to talk about the new, is it the 56 series or 57?
Something like a 57. This is the Razorback. This is the sort of more the entry level one, the narrow one. This is the one that farmers and farm-stroke tractors want.
Yeah.
Simple to put on the machine, but if we could quickly go around it. Cast iron pumps and motors, pretty standard stuff on it, you know, more of a professional machine. Oil coolers are standard. A nice shaped tank. It's for a bit of visibility, but we've taken away the lid that's trapping in the heat of the machine.
That's right.
And put the valves on the side. Very simple, very straightforward.
Right, so you literally just move these down here so you can
out
get
of the way, let the heat go up. And it's
Right.
made a hell of a difference to it. You even get a toolbox as standard.
Nah, it's got a few flails in
Put
there.
flails in.
and whatnot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, put the grinder in there for when I find
Well,
that,
they do
I
do.
find that sheep netted.
Those battery cordless, they're brilliant, aren't
That's
they?
what
They're
you want,
goodness.
yeah.
Fabulous. So on it, belt drive. So it gives us the inboard motor to there, makes a narrow head. Very straightforward, very tidy head.
What width is this one?
This is
Martin?
1.5. 1.4 is, so 1.2 metres our standard narrowest one.
This is
But
your
most
1.5.
farmers want 1.5 because of the size of hedge.
Exactly,
Less
yeah.
passes.
Yeah.
So parallel linkage, all pretty standard stuff. I think the bit that most people have got excited about this last 2 days is
it caught
this
our
end.
eye when we walked past.
All right, it's different. It's very different. I've been probably the hedge cutters too many years to remember.
You've done
really.
a few
Done
hedge
of
cutters,
them.
haven't you? Yeah.
And stability of the machine was the big question, always has been. How do you manage on a tractor easily and make it dead stable? A year or so ago, 30-ton digger on a trail, you know, the low loaders, you ratchet these things down. As you can see from, you know, when you start pulling that up, it gets so far, and that's tight.
That's not going
And I
nowhere.
thought, do you know, if we cross-chain it, why aren't we using it on the hedge
Well,
cutter?
if
So simple.
If it's enough for a dozer on the back of a low
they don't
loader.
move.
No,
And this is rock solid.
that's it.
And as you can see, this is mounted on, even the lift rods here and the cross on the link, none of that's been strained. We haven't even got, I mean, this is a representation of tractor, but it doesn't need the lift rods or anything. No, it's solid as it is.
It just sits there like that. Because
Very kind on the tractor.
Well, that's it, because what we've been messing with up until this point is you've always got these stupid bits
you've
of
done
frames,
it. You take your
pinholes,
fingers off, and you can't get it right, can't get the
and
pin.
then you've got unnecessary strain going this way, that way, and it's always been a faff. For
it has
years
been
and
a
years
faff.
and years.
So
basically-
really what's different is we're low on those chains,
Yeah.
and it's this pulling down to the lower hitch or
Right.
the drawbar that is giving the stability.
Yeah. So you basically hook up,
Yeah,
lower it down until these are tight.
right, and then you
And
choose
then-
your height by which
Yeah, get your
shackle
height
setting.
right on that.
Lift
and
your
then
stands up, and then you pull it
Pull
tight.
that down to
And they
your
can't.
pickup
And
hitch.
as you can see, as the head drops here, that can't lean and push away because it'd have to lift that
No,
up.
can't go anywhere.
Simple.
So that is solid.
but the
in
other
everywhere.
thing that makes you quite unique, it's so simple. Doesn't matter what tractor you got. They're not giving me odds.
You're not having to adapt to anything, are you?
You just go from one trap to the next. It takes minutes to take off, and it doesn't take an extra minute to put it on.
Yeah.
You just back up, lift it, load it on there, sort that out, put your peach on, you're done.
Ideal.
It is simple.
Just the job. And hopefully at some point we're going to have a look at your, is it your long reach version?
Yeah, the long reach one has the crank forward reach arm with a telescope on the forward. The visibility is fantastic, 6.7 meters reach. You reach the other side of the hedge, but the head is there.
It's right next to you.
And doesn't matter for bringing it forward, you don't lose any.
So
of
that's
the
one
visibility.
here, is it? On the video right now, that's the one there.
That's the one.
So that's your 67 plus that one, is it?
Yeah, that's 67 plus meaning the extra reach. We're very imaginative, aren't we? But in a minute, you'll see that when he's cutting the other side, the amount of reach that he does get.
Yeah.
Initially for the visibility, but then I thought, well, if I put a telescopic arm on that forward arm, then I've got the reach as well.
You're aware.
I've got everything I want.
Yeah.
Forward visibility and the reach. Yeah, in a minute it would be cutting the other side of the hedge.
There it is.
And even more so, there, look at that.
That's
plenty of reach.
Showing off.
That's showing off, isn't it? And that's still on the chain mount.
That's on the chain mount as well.
Yeah, you can see they're there.
So even with the bigger edge cutter, you can still do your chain mount with that.
Telescopic, 5-foot head, well, 1.5 meters.
Yeah.
You've got it all.
Spot on. Yeah, no, hopefully.
And it's made in the middle of England.
What do you
British
want?
products. What do you want?
There you go. Perfect. Oh, he's here now.
Have
you seen this fella?
No, I never recognised it. Never seen him before.
Right.
Well, thanks for coming and look round. It's
Thank you very
always a great pleasure. We always have a giggle.
Good. It's always
And
good
thanks
fun.
for coming and look.
Oh,
nice armrest as
proportional
well.
control as well.
Oh,
we missed that one.
Controls. Well, probably not so new proportional controls there. But they're beautiful to use.
Good stuff. Once again, thank you very much for your
Thanks,
time.
guys.
Perfect. Nice
We'll
one.
get on. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Right, I think it's fair to say that the ag industry, like many industry, runs on parts. And if it wasn't for parts supplier, well, we'd be nowhere. So we've come to have a look at one of those, which is Kramp UK. And we've got Stephen here, who's going to take us on a tour of their stand, which has significantly grown since last time out.
It is bigger than previous.
It is a fair old thing. You've got various sections to it, which, well, we'll find out what they are. So, Stephen, take us on a tour. Where are we starting to kick off?
So we're in a retail display scenario. So two elements here, we're able to show our product range to customers that might not have seen the Kramp brand.
Yeah.
The other side of it is part of this, we run a Cultivate a Generation program. So we're giving grants back to the industry. So therefore that's grants for technicians, for farmers, for farm workers. So any money we make from here today is being put to that.
Oh, good job.
Last year we gave away, I believe, £30,000. This year it's going to be 40,000.
So you've upped the ante.
So we've upped the ante.
Another 10 grand to...
Back into it.
So you just apply for
so
that,
apply, anyone online, apply for it, put your name in, drawn at random.
Yeah.
Every month, some of them are sequentially different, but it's just out there to try and help the next generation.
So in terms of this bit here, like I say, it's an example of the retail side of it in terms of clothing. Obviously you can buy clothing from yourselves. Is it sort of an example to potentially some of your dealers of what they can kind of do in their showrooms, whatever?
Exactly, part of it. It's the industry understands, and they are an industry that's built on seeing it.
Yeah.
And we can have the ability of showing what a four stand looks like, stock on it, but also for us, it's the ability to have interactions with dealers and say, look, customers are buying these. I mean, for you, James, bib and brace, four-way stretch.
Yeah.
Benefit of these, if you have to squat, you'll hit the ground and you'll get back up and it won't cut into you.
Without certain areas being squeezed and disappearing behind your ears.
And we'll do it any colour for you as long as it's green or black.
Right, spot
on. And again, it's something that's different to the industry because everything's always been cotton-based.
Yeah.
But actually, these now, we've had guys on the stand today that bought last year and it's the best thing he wears. He wears it every day. I did suggest he ought to buy another set, and he says, no, they haven't worn out yet.
So, get a bit of LandPowerTV on that.
There you go.
Matches already.
Trousers, bib and brace, jacket, shorts. But again, it's the industry moves on, and therefore it's having things that actually, support what people want.
There's no point coming to market with another Me Too product, is
yes.
there? You might as well show off what is possible.
Yeah, but we also still do the standard, the heavy cottons. We've got the trouser hang, which is using standard original
that one
workwear.
over there, the competition again.
The competition again. We've been slightly different this year. We actually made sure that people can't cheat by wrapping it around their wrists, getting tied up in
so
it.
You made it short, have you?
No, they just literally got to hold on with their hands.
It's just got to do that.
And it's then how long they last.
Right.
So we can still do that. So for someone who's welding, cutting, sparks,
that's
still the stuff. Can be boil washed, doesn't shrink.
Yeah.
Whereas anyone that's a bit more active, And also
for moving about.
That's the one. That's the stuff.
Right.
So we move on.
Onwards. So that was clothing.
So then we have
and
an
toys.
element.
I saw out the corner of my eye.
Toys there. Lights. Everyone loves lights.
Oh yes.
And therefore, what we've ended up doing here is, again, for showing potential dealers product ranges and assortment. They can physically see what it might look in their establishment, but also it's trying to enlighten the end user to go and ask their dealer, can you get it from Kramp?
Yeah.
You know, it's a good brand, we do good products. You know, we have tools, we have hand tools. This is a very small selection of what we do. But again,
I've seen the warehouse down at Biggleswade.
Yes.
This is tiny.
Yeah.
You do shed loads.
Our UK assortment is probably around about now 300,000 different product lines. Our European assortment is 500,000.
Right.
And in theory, ordered by 6, if it's in stock, we aim to ship that day. Depending on the item, it would arrive next day.
Right.
Courier dependent, as a caveat.
Yeah.
So come through, so we then get our business solutions area. So again, we wanted to make sure we've got areas where we can have conversations with dealers, potential dealers, and future dealers.
Right.
And therefore then on that, you know, it's good to be able to have space that you can go, you know, upstairs and be away from it a little bit, but still be personable.
Still be part of it as well and see what's going on.
And we've got a container we can now use at events to continue going forward.
I'll tell you what, it's amazing what you can do with a container and a bit of decking.
Hey, on we go.
Job, eh?
Exactly. So everyone, in theory, loves nuts and bolts.
Yep.
So what we then have...
Lost without them.
So what we have is this, again, it's trying to make life easy. So what we're looking at is we've got business solutions. So it's having scenarios and setups where it adds a bit of order, but also in terms of when you need it, you know where it is, but when you need to reorder it, it makes life as easy as it can be.
Right.
So for argument's sake, we have an app, because everyone has an app nowadays.
Yeah.
But when it's barcoded, when it's labelled, in theory, scan, it's there, ready in your basket.
And as you're getting low on these, once you get down to a few, can you tell your app and can you do inventory management?
You can do that. I mean, it sounds daft. Sometimes the simplest is the best. I've got businesses on the hydraulic fittings that actually they've got an agreed stock level of say 3 units. When they drop to 3 units, they clip a green close peg on. Right, so the guy who does the ordering has only got to look.
That one, add.
And it's quicker and easy for him.
Cool.
Also, though, works with, it sounds daft, stock barcode items. So again,
look at that. That's quick, isn't
it? Can be added to your basket.
Yeah.
You know, I've got guys that do it for grease,
yeah,
which sounds really odd, but they do it for grease for the drivers. So he reorders when he's got 12 in the basket.
Yeah.
But the other reason for doing it is he can monitor which drivers are using which grease.
Making sure they are actually using
They are actually using it.
Yeah.
So now we move on to private label. So a private label scenario is products that we're putting forwards in the Kramp name, in the Kramp brand. And again, our focus we've got is technical sprays, it's paint. Again, a big focus on lights.
Light world there,
and what we now have there is we obviously have brand-specific boards. So it's giving customers the ability of changing standard lights to LEDs based on brand, based on making it look right, keeping it looking authentic.
Right, so trying to keep in keeping with what they would have already on their tractor or vehicle,
or you'll
whatever
have
it is.
The scenario where everyone wants big lights, so we do big lights.
Right.
Big light bars and everything else and that. And again, we've now stepped into this year what we call black lights, which are getting us into the construction industry. So in theory, they are more suited to an exposed environment and being outside in all weathers.
Right.
So it again is trying to be fit for purpose and continue to develop and move forwards.
Yeah, well, we better keep moving forwards because cameraman Chris is on the prowl for lights.
Right. So a lot of paint. Paint charts, tell us a round number, and we'll get you a paint. Obviously, if you need a 3/4 inch spanner,
coloured spanner,
take your pick. If you want a 13mm, you're out of luck.
Right, but we've got loads of 3/4 today.
We've got loads of 3/4 to work through.
I tell you what, you've done well to still have a wall full.
We've got some leftovers, I think.
All right, you keep adding to it.
Yes.
Right.
And then we come to our suppliers. And probably the one thing that people don't understand is the amount of businesses that we deal with.
That's unreal, isn't it?
So everyone loves the old logo game.
Yeah.
And in theory, for us as a sales team, the ability of having this to actually be to flash it in front of someone, I didn't know you dealt with them. I didn't know you dealt with them. Some of them are easier to deal with than others, but you know, it's good to have. It's good to have that as a, you know, for us as a point of reference.
Yeah.
You know, literally we could show that to a dealer, and very quickly, river systems, I didn't know you did that. And then you can go down that route and have that conversation.
That's it, all these possibilities start opening up then, isn't it?
Yeah.
And again, it's like when we've been round your warehouse at Biggleswade and you had that open day as well.
Yes.
We got a flavour of the amount of brands that you deal with.
Yeah.
But then to put it in front of your face, it's like, whoa.
And also, someone's organised that alphabetically.
Someone had a slow day.
But yeah, you know, so again, it's trying to make sure that what we do, we're supporting the industry. The industry is ever changing. The industry has got many challenges currently and ahead of it. But what we can do is try to make sure that, you know, when the industry needs us, we're available.
Keep them going.
To keep them going.
Yeah, that's it. So where to next?
The last bit that we've got is obviously we are route to market for some companies. So obviously Donaldson Filter are one, Karcher, High Tech another one. So again, this is the sample of businesses that we deal with, that we support.
Famous for the filtration solutions.
Yes.
There's Ashley himself. What we got here?
Karcher. So Karcher on obviously the cleaning side of it, pressure washers.
Big range of products, bigger than you think as well.
Yeah, and again, and it's little things like, for argument's sake, you've got the option that, you know, us having discussions with Karcher, we can talk about hire equipment and things like that people would never in our industry wouldn't come to Kramp for.
Yeah.
But actually, if they've got large land areas, if you've got race yards, horse yards, areas that they need to keep clean, there's another route and another option
else
that, you know, we can support them with.
Yeah.
And then fluid movement with High Tech down the end. So.
Right.
And that's it, I'm afraid. That's all we got.
But it's a hell of a flavour.
Yes.
Yeah, no, you've certainly, I mean, like we said at the top of this little interview, it's certainly moved on, well, certainly grown the stand anyway from what you had last time and just showing a bit more off.
4 years ago, at post-COVID, we were a stand at the far end of the last hall, which I think was a 10x5, against a false wall that they put up because there wasn't enough stands to fill.
That's right, I remember that, yeah.
To fill the building, and every year we want to do more and support the industry.
Great stuff. Well, Stephen, thank you very much.
Thanks for your time. No worries at all.
Nice one.
Chris, come and get your lights.
He's on his way now. So last year on the Vaderstad stand, we were talking a lot about the Pro Seed, which I believe now has had a good year under its belt.
Yes, that's right,
UK,
yeah.
Which is, I mean, what's the best way to describe the Pro Seed?
Precision planting corn or wheat, barley, oats, normal seeds.
Very versatile,
yeah,
but all precision.
Planting, lower seed rates, 250 row spacing.
Good stuff. So that was big news last time out.
Yes, yep.
This time, and it kind of follows on from what we saw at Agritechnica 2023 when we first saw it.
Yes.
We're now talking about the Seed Hawk, which is a direct tine drill.
That's correct.
Is that right?
Yep.
Spot on. Right, so we've got Andy Gamble, as ever, our usual willing victim at Vaderstad. So Andy, we'll be logical for once. We'll start at the front of the Seed Hawk and work our way back. So, first of all, what were sort of the reasons and the introduction of the Seed Hawk?
Well, the Seed Hawk was a company we purchased quite a while back and focused obviously Canadian drill. It was mainly a direct drill to reduce moisture loss in Canada because they get one rain. If you move the soil too much,
it's gone.
You're gone. So they had to precision drill, but place the seed between the stubble, create a microclimate and let the seed grow.
Right, so that's where it sort of originates from.
It came to the UK in the early 2000s, something we've unfortunately ceased to produce it after 2013. And we've obviously been asking to get the Seed Hawk back for the European market.
Right.
There was a few little things that used to happen. If you went into residues, you could get straw wrap and everything around the tines. So we looked to address all the problems we thought we would have in a wetter market.
Yeah, you need to make it sort of European friendly.
Because we aren't a dry market.
Yeah.
So we need to adapt it so it suits the European market.
Be happy with wet conditions and narrow enough to get down the road, because it was a big thing as well.
I think their transport width is as wide as this machine and open. Yeah. So we have to get into a 3 metre window. So this is what we've got here, which we're towing on the two large wheels. We're quite familiar with the jumbo machines. The hydraulic ram is an option, so you can actually do weight transfer onto the tractor, so you don't.
Right, so you can put a bit of nose weight on, get a bit of traction down.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the front. So it simply goes into a 7,000 litre hopper, but the thing with this hopper, it's in 3 sections.
So you can have 3 different products. You could have 2 in one and 1 in another. So you can decide where you put your product. It doesn't matter where you put them.
Doesn't matter what it is or where it is.
That will be metered into a Phoenix metering system underneath each unit. Yeah. If you want to change the products, for example, so you got some 2 pipes on here, one going to one leg and one going to another. You can decide if you want all the fert to go down one pipe, the seed to go down the other, depending on which tank you fill them.
Right.
Just with a butterfly valve.
Yeah.
You can even mix it if you want. You could put seed and fertiliser together if you want, or if you're looking at other things, you could probably put beans down one or cover crop down another. Right. So just whatever you want to put in them.
So massively versatile then, really.
So that's the Phoenix system based underneath there. And then the rear system is obviously whatever we put on, so you can have a 6 metre, an 8 metre, a 9.
Right. And that's all off this same chassis?
That's all off the same chassis. You can see a bolt section there, so we can keep the main system and put a system on the back.
And this is a 6 metre you've got on the stand,
This is a 6 metre
as
on
an
the back,
example?
As an example, yeah. The 6 metre is 2 sections, so half width. The 8s and 9s come in 3 sections, so we can decide on that.
Will you do maybe 12s at some point, 12 metres?
We hope to, yeah. I hope so the case. It's just
for a bit of controlled
again,
traffic
it's another
farming.
Window to get 12 metres to fold
exactly.
in.
It's another engineering challenge. We make it sound simple when we talk about it.
But, easy to 12.
Anyway, we'll move around here. We'll get to the business end.
So the business end is the seed coulters. So traditionally this was the Seed Hawk section here, which you had a fertiliser coulter at the front, leading and lower than the seed. So you put the fertiliser down into a slot. You'll see the fertiliser is a lifting sort of cultivator, lifts the soil, creates the tilth, put the fertiliser in. Then it's followed by a seed coulter slightly higher into the side of the fertiliser, so it allows the seed to reach down for the fert.
Right.
And that coulter is more vertical, so it's actually more dragging, so it creates a shelf for the seed, so you can always maintain your seed depth and the seed sits on it.
Got you.
And that's how that system works. And this is what we've included included or added as an option for the machine, which is a 380 kilo up to 380 kilo downforce cutting disc. Now that allows you to cut any residues, so it doesn't get any straw wrap or residue wrap around tines, because you know what it's like tines. But it also creates a slot, so when the coulter goes through, you don't get too much soil throw left or right. So you allow, it helps maintain a higher forward speed, because if you go too fast, you could end up with soil throw, as you know.
Yes, you get a bit of a boil up, don't you?
You don't want to throw soil into the path of the next coulter.
No, you're making that one work harder.
You make it work harder. So that disc obviously was one of the key features that makes it a better European machine.
That's your European spec here. There. And like I say, this bit here, that's what you traditionally have. That is the Seed Hawk there.
So so you can, obviously the depths, you can go very substantially deep with these coulters, up to the silver plate, 7 inches on the fert. And
all so we're almost getting into strip till territory.
You can see how thin the tine is, so we're not trying to move anything. When you see it finished, you'll see brown soil, but you won't see any real disturbance. The stubble round it will still be standing. It's not a cultivator in any form, but it's so thin. Obviously, every time moves soil, it's a myth to think it's no-till, because
that has to go through somewhere, doesn't it?
The soil's got to move to get it through. But the depth wheel is the main control. That's the wheel that controls the depth with the settings.
So depth and consolidation.
Yes, and it consolidates the row. So it just puts a little dip in the row to consolidate it. We've got a picture on the back of that board we can show you to show you what it looks like in the ground.
Right.
And that is the concept. It's 250 row spacing. Despite you can see the stagger.
It's very staggered,
trash
isn't it?
flow and
so we've almost got. I mean, if you include those at the front there, you've got a row there. 1, 2, 3, 4 rows.
Sections,
really spaced out, from front to back. You say it's 250 mil.
250 row spacing, which is seems to be quite common for the direct drilling sector. Proceeds 250. You've got other manufacturers doing 250. I think also, we know that inter-row weeding is a big thing people are thinking of. 250 obviously is the perfect size for inter-row weed. Gives
you a bit of space to play with.
If chemicals keep disappearing as they do.
Yeah, definitely.
This one's got seed blockage monitoring on as well at the moment. You see the seed eye sensors on the top there.
Right. And you can see all the we've got four
on this
heads up there.
Yeah, 1 seed on each side for half width. Obviously, if you get 3 sections, you'll have a lot more heads and control.
That's it, but you can see the 2 positions where they go down. Like I say, you got your fert at the front, you see it at the back there.
Now this machine has got obviously stability wheels in the middle and the front. When you get the 8 and 9s, you'll get wing wheels as well to stop the frames moving
Right.
On
So,
undulating ground, or follow the undulating
yeah,
ground.
follow the ground. Yeah. Right.
What you don't want is a frame bouncing while this is trying to set. So you try
No,
to
well,
keep the
that's
frame steady and
Yeah, well, if you're pushing down, was it 300
yeah,
and
80
something?
kilos there.
380 kilos.
And this
you want
frame's
this.
trying to bounce up and down.
You want this down, don't you?
Yeah.
So when this is down in the ground, and obviously the coulters are engaged,
Yes.
and your depth wheels are on the ground, will it still travel on those big wheels?
Yes.
Or will they,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So they're just sort of.
Yeah. You wouldn't support the whole drill with just the
No.
coulters. No.
No, you couldn't lift them completely out of the way.
So that's the simple run round.
That is the Seed Hawk.
I can tell you one and
In a
make it a bit
nutshell.
more complicated.
So this is out. Obviously, it's here this time.
This
at
is
LAMMA.
up for demonstration for spring, starting off in the west, down the western side, and then move across to the eastern side. We've got another 9 metre coming in for the autumn, and another 6 for the Scotland. So there'll be a few about for demonstration.
Good stuff. And is there a bit of demand for it? Is there a bit of
Yes,
anticipation
I mean we've still
for
got
it?
ex-users from years ago coming back and saying, glad it's back. So
Where have you been?
they'll be the first people to see it. But obviously the market's changed since then, because it was all obviously rapid min-till, big market there, and Seed Hawk was this sort of diverse sidetrack market for people who want to reduce tillage. Now obviously the market's changed, everyone's looking at that sort of thing at other shows.
And this is becoming more the norm now.
Yeah, people are looking at maybe coming away from disc for direct drilling to tines, depending on the weather conditions. It's all changing which direction you go.
Yeah, I suppose you've got a slightly bigger working window with something like this. When it comes to direct drilling.
You don't want to go out, this wouldn't go out in the rain, it's
not
going to allow you to drill in the wet, but it does give you the options that it's moving a bit of soil, creating a bit of tilth, no smearing of discs and things like that. So
that's it, and it perfectly complements some of your other products, especially like the carrier and things like that.
Yes, I mean, this would go well. I mean, we'd say if you went in front of cultivating for this, you'd only probably use a cross cutter. You want to keep it
just
above the seed bed, because you want the tines to create the seed bed. You don't want to try to put it in loose soil.
And that will be it.
Yeah, and that'll be it.
That'll be a 2-machine shed, will it?
Yeah, and have a rapid and a Krone seed on the side.
You've got to have your rapid as well. Well, that's it. I mean, we should say, like, the rapid's not going nowhere,
No,
is
it's
it?
not going anywhere. That's still one of the top selling drills for us. And
that's your staple diet, that one, isn't
it? Rapids are, people have gone back to rapids because it's the versatility, because it is a direct drill.
Yeah.
But you've got disc on the front. If you want to create a bit of tilth, you can get carrier disc on the front and the aggressive to make it a cultivating disc machine. We've got 3 rows, so you can go into heavy trash and cover crops now. So we've added and changed it so it adapts to many systems, and you've got one machine there. So
definitely, Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, now the bio drill on the back, because people want to incorporate cover crops or Avadex as well on the back. So
that's what you kind of forget sometimes.
Yeah.
It is a direct drill.
It is direct drill.
Whatever you want at the front of it.
We did what most people are saying is, you've got a direct drill, you want a bit of tilth, you've got to put some disc on the front to create just tilth. You don't have to cultivate, really. You just tickle the top.
That's it.
Yeah.
Good stuff, well, Andy, as ever.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Absolutely spot on that. Lovely stuff. We better find some more, had we? So, as well as celebrating the production of 2 million tractors, well, more than that now, innit?
Yeah.
At New Holland, they are also showing at LAMMA 2025 a new model, which is the new T5. So we're going to have a look at it now with Jack Richards. He's going to show us around it, and we'll find out what's going on.
Yep,
so
no problem.
T5, obviously, it's a famous model that you've had for donkeys years now.
Yep.
Presumably, this is the new version. It replaces something. What's happening?
Yes, so this is the new T5 Dual Command. This is replacing the previous T5 utility model that we had.
Right.
So we've made some changes. There's some things that have stayed the same. So, for example, the engine is still the same, 3.6 litre F5C engine that we had on the previous one. Stage 5, so we've got the high SCR system. So I think, you've tested the power shuttle version of this before. So we've got the underneath the hood, you'll notice that there's an all-in-one sort of package under there for the high SCR2.
It's
all in one
there.
place.
So it's not sat under the front right under the cab.
Correct.
Right,
So that's all carried over from the previous generation. The improvements we've made. So I mean, while we're on this side of the tractor, you'll see the new redesigned fuel tank. That's increased the ground clearance by about 7.5 centimetres.
Right, so you've upped that. Is this a bit higher as well?
Yeah. So it's totally redesigned.
Right.
We've got an extra couple of litres of fuel in there as well. So yeah, that's that. We've got the option of now having a wet front PTO.
Right.
So this one hasn't got a front linkage on. Previous one was a dry PTO.
Yeah.
You can now have a wet one on the front now. So nice upgrade, because obviously you've got that bit more, I don't know, it's a bit quieter.
Yeah,
definitely. A bit more refined.
And how many models of the T5 Dual Command can you get then?
So you can get 5 models.
There's 5 models in the range, yeah.
So it goes from 80 horsepower up to the 120 model.
Right. And then while we're at the front end here, can you get front axle suspension on these?
No, it's fixed front axle on this one.
Right.
This has got the 1.5 front axle, so it's the slightly wider axle compared to the Class 1. Ideal for loader work.
Yeah, that's it.
This is the most common spec that we would bring to the UK.
Right. So you see this being a popular
Yes,
tractor?
100%. And I mean, yeah, we've redesigned the bonnet. So we've got this nice, even though it looks really nice, it also improves the visibility out the front.
Right.
We've got some extra grills here, which are really getting the air around the engine as well.
I see you got some proper nice new styling on that.
Yeah, a built-in LED work lights. This one's got halogen road lights, but that's going to be changing to LED.
Right.
Within this year.
Yeah.
The other thing that we've changed for the styling and look of the tractor, and it's for a practical purpose as well, is the new U-shaped exhaust. So the previous generation, it was a lot higher up, where it was like an L.
Popped out here, didn't it?
Yeah,
somewhere?
correct. Yeah. So that's a new thing that we've done. It just tidies it up really, and you'll notice when you get in the cab, really good visibility down the right-hand side.
Right down there,
yeah.
Like we were saying before, you haven't got any SCR canisters down here because they're all, you've squeezed them up in there out of the way.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
That's it. Sound. Then, with the T5 range, because you've got a million T5 models, haven't you? So this is dual command.
Dual command.
Which is basically a split. So what gearbox is in this then?
So it's the 24x24.
Right.
And then the dual command's like your high-low splitter.
Right, so you got 3 ranges, 4 gears in each range, and a splitter in each gear, basically. Yeah. And that's where you get your 24x24 from.
Correct.
And then above this, have you still got electro command?
We've still got electro command. And then the next one, so basically it's like the different transmissions. So you've got your T5 electro command, which is your 16x16 4-speed power shift.
Yeah.
And then we've got the T5 DCT, which is your 8-speed semi-power shift. And then you've got your auto command.
Yeah.
Which is your full CVT.
Lots of choice. And have you got something below this as well? That's one I tried.
Yeah, the power shuttle.
The power shuttle.
So that's 12x12.
Yeah, simple drive on.
Yeah.
Crackle.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, back end wise.
Back end. So you'll notice straight away, cab suspension. On this particular model, we've not had it, so it's new, brand spanking new. So we've got cab suspension finally. You'll also see that the lift rams, they look a bit more beefier, so they're an extra 10 mil on those. So we've increased the lifting capacity from 4.4 tonnes to 4.7 tonnes now. Also, we've increased the hydraulic pump size. So before we had the 64 litre a minute pump. It's now 82 litres a minute now.
Right, so ideal for those loader applications.
Yeah, 100%. And the other thing that we're going to have is, this particular one's just a standard drop-down hitch, but we are going to offer a pushback hitch from the factory as well.
Right. And this will be one of the smallest ones with a pushback hitch,
It would be now.
It will be the one.
It will be when we get,
Right. How many spills can we get on the back of this?
3.
3 double acts in there.
Yeah.
They're all mechanical, are they?
All mechanical.
Yeah. So
you'll also notice we've got an Isobus socket as well. That's another thing. If you look over on where the guys are with the field ops stuff and the precision technology, this tractor is going to be available with full guidance, telematics, everything. Yeah, just like what we have on the PLMI T7.
Will this have the steering valve in it for the auto steering?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
So it's going to be a full solution. It's going to have the IntelliView 12 screen, just like you see on the T7 PLMI.
Right.
So she can go to that extent with technology as well, which is.
You can really bring that technology right down to something like this.
Yeah.
Right, if you're feeling brave, Chris, you're going to climb on up, see what's going on in there. Cab-wise, anything changed in there, or is it kind of familiar?
The cab frame's the same, but the switches have changed, the layout of the switches. They've just tidied it up a bit, really. We've got the new advanced loader joystick, which is brand new. So on there now, we've finally got a forward and reverse shuttle on there.
Put your shuttle on the,
yes.
on the loader joystick.
So she's on there with the high-low splitter for the dual command.
On there as well?
Dual command splitter.
We're laughing now, are we?
Yeah. And we've got on there the engine speed management as well. So you've got 2 cruise controls for your engine speed, all on the joystick.
Yeah, right, got you.
So
that's just, you can set your engine speeds and just flick from one to the other.
Yeah.
Right, got you.
Yeah. The other thing you'll notice is as well, we've got the new screen in there as well. So on there we've got half analog and then there's half digital. So yeah, it's pretty smart really.
Yeah. So you've just had a right good tidy up in there.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's got a bit more of an automotive feel, especially with the new screen in there. It's definitely brought it a big leap forward really.
Yeah. Spot on. Well, we look forward to having a bash at some point.
Yeah,
Should be
definitely.
Good. When's availability on these? Can you order these now? Or?
You can order them now. So the initial units in the dealers will be arriving sort of March time.
Right.
So yeah, we'll have plenty of availability then and full production. So yeah, really excited about it. Really getting it out in the field and seeing it work.
You look excited, Jack.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Spot on. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Mate,
Perfect.
no worries.
That little walk round. Nice
Good.
Right, shall we have a bit of Austrian flavour now in the form of Pottinger? So we've got Paul Wilson here, and we're going to talk about some of the latest developments to the Jumbo range, because I believe there's been quite a lot recently, especially the past couple of years with the 8007 and now the 5.
That's right.
So yeah, let's dive in, shall we?
Yeah.
We'll go front to back. I mean, first of all, just give us a bit of background. What has been going on?
Yeah, well, I guess what's important to say now, we're in 25 years of Jumbo.
Right.
So, it's a strong machine in the Pottinger range.
Yeah.
The brand is so strong across the continent and the world. So this now is the latest generation of the Jumbo.
Yeah.
Like you said, we have an 8, a 7, which you're familiar with, and this is the 5. And just launched last season, and I think you're seeing it maybe for the first time now at the show.
It's the first time I've seen it anyway. So would you call this is like your baby Jumbo almost?
And I nearly said it myself, because that's what it's known in our side of the water as well, is the baby Jumbo. But really what it is, I mean, physically it's the same as 8 and 7 in the design of the body, let's say, and the front. Where it differs is in the drivetrain.
Right,
that's
so
the main
front
difference.
end's different here,
yes,
basically.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Right, talk us through it. What have we got?
This is more like your traditional wagon with a centre gearbox. Your drive is sent across with a shaft into a side-mounted gearbox.
Yeah.
Whereas on the 8 and 7000 we're into the belt drive.
That's right, going that way, is
That's
it?
right.
Yeah.
So this is more traditional in its setup.
Yeah.
It's for someone who maybe wants this size wagon, but maybe it doesn't want that step up to the 500 horsepower drivetrain that's in the bigger ones, maybe a little less complicated. But we're still offering 2 ranges of pickup, so it's a 2.3 or a 2 meter pickup, depending on what the customer wants. This is the wider one, 7 time bar, always with a cam.
Always with cam tracks for you guys, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's a few reasons for it.
Yeah.
It allows the pickup to be that bit closer to the rotor.
Yeah.
Is one of the big ones, eliminating that dead spot. It allows you to slow down the pickup. You have the sweeping effect.
You don't need that high speed on compared to camless.
And there's a tendency to push the grass on a little bit when it's light.
Right.
So, so anyone that has experience with the old Jumbo or the old Toro would recognise this.
They'd be at home with this one.
They'd recognise it instantly,
right.
to be honest.
Good stuff. So moving back a little bit then.
Yeah.
So like I say, you got the more of the traditional style round this end.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a little less options on this machine as well. So the wheels are fixed. So say on 7 and 8000 Jumbo, you have the option of these hydraulically folding backwards. But on this model, they're a fixed wheel at the moment. Maybe there will be demand in the future. And then when you get to the knife bank, it's very similar to our old Toro, but the new knife bank on the Jumbo 7000 is the same, more or less the same.
So this is very similar, is it?
Yeah.
This knife bank,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
So this is, what's this? I mean, the size 34 mil. This one.
Exactly. Yeah. 45 knives, 34 mil, a double-sided knife if required. and also with the auto sharpener as well, which is a really nice touch now.
Yeah.
This got a modification or an upgrade with this new Jumbo ranges, and one of the key features now, this used to be more oil driven, now this is electric motor driven, much more reliable and accurate, because with cold oil or warm oil it was always reacting a little different on the older models. There's
so
less
this is
sensors.
more consistent, this?
Way more.
When it's up,
way more. Way
I've
more.
wrecked it.
Don't worry. Way more consistent, to be straight with you. Yeah.
So, and this, just going back to, you know, your theoretical chop length. So you're on 34 mil on this.
Yes.
This is same as the 7s and 8s, is it?
Well, the
or can they go shorter?
8s are shorter. So, like 8s, you have 65 knives. That's a theoretical chop length. I think it's 26 mil.
Yeah.
And this is closer to the 7,000 then. It depends on the requirement of the customer. We don't have, you know, it depends on the customer requirement on chop length. Yeah. But as a driver, as an operator, it doesn't change how you're operating the machine. It might take a little bit more power if you have more knives in, obviously, maybe, but you're not driving in a different style or manner or noticing anything different from the driver's seat. It still drives like a wagon, operates like a wagon.
Are you seeing a bit more of a demand for a shorter chop? You see a bit of a trend at the moment?
Yeah, there is and there isn't. It depends. This kind of tendency goes up and down. It really depends on the material you're chopping too. If you have younger, lighter, fresher grass, it tends to chop really well anyway. And there's no demand.
This is.
Yeah, to be honest. Maybe more these anaerobic digesters and these type of clients going forward have more of a demand for chop length. But yeah.
Good stuff. Right, should we go upwards then? Talk us through the actual box itself.
Like the Jumbo 7 and 8,000, the main difference here, we fill the gap between the front of the wagon and the tractor, so we're utilising that space and filling that dead space. So with the same length wagon now, you're gaining 4.5 cubic meters of din
just
capacity
above the
just
road,
there. Yeah. And secondary to that, that panel is also helping while loading the machine. So there's different, you can set the panel in different ways to facilitate loading different types of grass and so forth. So it's not only helping you fill this space, while you're loading, it's also...
Right, so when it's loading, for example, it'd be sort of that sort of position, would it?
It's operator defined.
Right, okay, you can put it where you want.
Yeah, you can save some settings. So if it's today, it's a certain type of grass or a certain type of... You start to get, okay, I need it like this, and it'll fill better like this and it's a little bit of a process. Traditionally at wagons it was a straight up 90 and a compression flat.
That was it, yeah.
And
away you went.
And away you went, but now the operator has much more options.
You can fine tune it basically.
Absolutely.
Adapt it to the crop.
Absolutely, yeah. And a lot of lads like that because it's, you know, never is 2 days the same.
No.
And never, you know, two different tractors and all different types of options now.
And what capacity is this wagon?
Yeah, and that's something I like now because always now you'll see the size of the range now in the first figure, and then you have the din capacity in the second two figures.
Actual capacity,
not in
this,
water, not this compressed, which was a difficult one to comprehend. You see, and yeah, so this is 39 cubic meters.
Yeah. And have you got various sizes in sort of the 5,000 series?
Yeah.
Right.
And there is one smaller than this as well, and it's 34 cubic meters. It's basically one of these sections that you see here, less.
All right. So is it a section from the front or a section from the?
It's more at the back. The wheels move forward a bit.
Yeah.
But the actual section is this much
shorter. That size, right. There you go. So there's just the two models in the 5,000, is there?
No, and there's one above as well.
So this is the middle one?
This is the middle one, yeah.
Right.
And it's, what is nice, like, see the previous generation, which was this length, was a Jumbo 6020. And this machine is the same length as that, but is able to carry maybe 4 or 5 cubic meters more grass, without compromising with tail swing or length.
Yeah, because there's not much stuck out there,
no,
is there?
It's really manoeuvrable,
for a 39 cube machine.
Yeah.
Right, so running gear while we're here. In the middle.
And there is various options here now as well, and you see it more and more demand for bigger tyres, of course, and taller ones. So there's a 30.5 inch option on this now as well.
Yeah.
And because of that, you have to remove the yellow piece. Then it's like a greedy board.
All right.
But with 30.5s, it sends it over the legal limit in height, 3.95 meters. So if you go for 30.5,
you gotta take that off.
Yeah.
Right. So.
But it's still 39 cubic din with that off.
Oh, with that off, right.
With that on, it's maybe 41 now.
Right.
But we don't show that on the side.
No, that's just your little Brucey bonus if you can do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Good
yeah,
stuff.
and then look, you've options, hydraulic suspension, we've all the options, force steering, mechanical force steering, which is the two struts that are mechanically to the tractor.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a displacement system. And what's really nice now, we have a magic box. There's no real way of describing this, but there's no connection between the tractor and the wagon for the force steering. It's an option. There's a little gyro. It's a black box that sits on the chassis. It's so sensitive it can recognize forward, reverse.
It knows where it's going.
Yeah, and no connection to the tractor.
Right.
It's a really nice system. What's nice about that as well, you can override it. So if you want to crab the steering, you can manually override it, but there's no way to describe how that works, only saying it's black magic, to be honest.
Witchcraft and wizardry.
Yeah, yeah.
And when you start reversing, will it automatically lock the back axle as well?
Yeah. And, you know, we always used to supply sensors for that, but more and more people are using Isobus now. And through Isobus, you can take the forward speed of the tractor and the reverse speed. You know, that tractor will give the signal to the wagon for that and then lock it.
So, like, if you, going forwards, if you got up to 20k, something like that, you could lock that out automatically.
Yeah, you set those parameters in our control box. It takes the tractor speed and you set 15k or whatever, and after that it locks the axle, but you set it.
Right.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And then, you know, unloading, there's options also with these beaters. I don't know over here if that's
Don't
used a
see
lot.
so many of them.
No.
Well, you don't really see them at all in the UK.
Yeah. And they use a lot in Europe. It's nice maybe they drive over the pit and they'll put the
so
layer,
much sense.
put a layer of grass on.
Rather than shove it up, put it on top and
just nice layer.
Spread it out a bit and get rolling.
Yeah.
Spend more time doing that.
Yeah. A locked door system. She's slightly open now, but and I don't know what to say. There's real nice light packages now on this machine, and there's LED strips internally as well. It's a really nice feature at night. It's a really nice thing, to be honest.
It'd be a nice thing, in tandem with cameras and things like that, and you can actually monitor what's going on then.
Yeah, the LEDs, the less power requirement have allowed for a lot of lights to be added to these machines now without problems.
Yeah. Good stuff.
I don't know what else to say. I think that's it in a nutshell, I suppose.
That is absolutely spot on. It's just great to catch up with you guys and see where you're up to, particularly with one of your most famous products.
Yeah, and the name Jumbo,
wagons, the Jumbo.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's a happy anniversary, so it's all going good. Lots of development going on.
Yeah, exactly.
And do you think we may see, some of the stuff we've seen on this filter down to, is it Toro next?
Yeah, and this is, to be honest now, this model has superseded the Toro.
Right, this one here, this 5000. Right.
So we will see the Toro gone from, say, our offering now. There is some still there with dealers and things, but this will supersede it. And then we will have the Euro Profi, which is probably next in line for a facelift, and that will probably step up a little bit to where the Toro was as well in the next update.
One goes down, one comes up.
Exactly.
Spot on. Well, thank you very much for that.
No problem,
Absolutely.
pleasure.
Perfect. Job is a good one, thank you very much.
No problem.
Right folks, I think it's now time to come on down to the Claydon stand and play the SFI game, and let's have a look at and explore some of the tools that we can achieve that with, because obviously SFI, we've got Spencer Claydon here with us. SFI, big hot topic at the moment.
Absolutely.
Like you were just saying off camera before, it's kind of become the pole because the old Peter has been robbed over here and it's been diverted over to SFI.
Exactly.
So it's about kind of working with the system and just trying to maximise it and your revenue.
Absolutely.
And soil health at the same time.
100%.
There we go.
So basic payment schemes have gone down from being on a sliding scale down to around £7,500 that you'll get as a maximum, no matter how much ground you're farming.
That's it.
And if you don't do something to replace that, you know, you're going to struggle to make a profit doing a traditional system and such like. Luckily for us, we've got the technology where we can actually save the farmer an awful lot of money in the first place, but also replace that basic payment scheme money with the SFI 2024 scheme. And what we're doing on our farm to do that is basically we've put in 270 hectares and we're receiving around about the best part of £100,000 a year by doing certain actions on a 3-year agreement. So it's going to add up to around about 300,000 over that period
than you were
with the basic payment scheme.
Right.
Yeah.
So not too bad. Like you say, if you've got the tools to do it.
Yep.
And the info, it's surprising what you can achieve.
Absolutely.
So let's run through it then. We've got an example of one of your machines behind you here. So this is the hybrid, is it this one?
This is a 3-meter Evolution. So it's the new model. It's the successor to the hybrid model.
Got you.
And it includes a double hopper on here. So you have seed and fertilizer capacity with this. Or you can have dual products. So you could have, for instance, wheat in one side and beans in the other side, so you could drill a companion crop with it. It does indeed also have a third hopper on here, and this third hopper could be used to put in, say for instance, a small seed like, for instance, clover, and the clover can then come off these back paddles here and be placed between the rows.
Right.
So it's a fantastic machine for no-till farming. All of the coulters on this machine can be used to apply a seed at the right depth for that seed.
So even your leading tines in front of your seed coulter, you can use that to apply
Absolutely.
seed.
So a bean would come down here and we'd place a bean, and a bean wants to be deep in the soil. It wants to be down there 4 inches, 6 inches deep in the soil. So we can do that with the adjustment on this leading tine, and then we can then place behind it the wheat seed or the cereals crop or whichever crop that you're growing, place a bean underneath and a band of cereals here. And with this machine you could also, between those rows, put in, say for instance, clover there as well. So actually you're covering all areas with it all.
Tick,
absolutely. So in terms of the payments and such like, for no-till farming and drilling straight in with the drill, you can get £73 per hectare.
Right. So hang on, Chris, if you want to come in on that, we've got one ready for you.
Which is SOH1.
Yeah, so that's that one there.
So that's no-till farming.
Yeah.
The companion crop, so when you drill your wheat there, is then CIPM3, which is £55 per hectare.
That's on top of the 73?
On top of the £73. But if you grow a summer catch crop beforehand and protect the soil over the summer, the government will then pay you £163 per hectare on SOH2.
Right, that's that one.
And if you desiccate that off, and if you're drilling, say for instance on our farm, we're growing wheat and we're growing spring oats. So for spring oats, we could then put in a winter cover crop, which is CSAM2, which is a further £129 per hectare. So by the time you stack all of those payments, as I say, on 270 hectares on our farm that we're putting in for it, we're achieving around about 94,000 for that. Plus there's things like nutrient management plans and that side of things, which you're doing anyway on the farm, which the government will pay you for. So farmers shouldn't despair and shouldn't say, oh, we're not getting the basic payment scheme. They need to change what they're doing, and not only are they going to save an awful lot of money because we're around about a fifth of the time and a third of the cost of a full cultivation system, but by moving to this, they can also claim these monies as well. Now last year as well, on the Farming Equipment Technology Fund, you were able to receive up to £40,800 for a seed and fertiliser drill. That is paused at the moment, and we don't know whether they're going to reopen that.
There's a question mark over that one at the
moment. Murmurs are it may be coming back in March, but we don't know. but you can get a really good capital grant for buying the machine in the first instance, and that then makes the machine extremely affordable to buy if they bring it back out. But the reality is, when you can make best part of £300,000 over 3 years by doing these simple actions, it makes it a very simple thing to do. Now, pharmacy can advise you on this. There's also, and they're the guys that have advised us on this, there's also the Farmers Resilience Fund, which runs through until March, where a number of companies are signed up to that. Brown & Co. and several of the other big advisors are signed up to that, where they can get free government funding to give you advice for your farm, for your particular needs. Now, of course, SFI covers a variety of more things than this.
Yeah, definitely.
We are not advisors, I will stipulate that. We're manufacturers, and I'm talking about what we're doing on our farm.
Yeah, but, well, that's it. It's like you are a manufacturer, but you do have a farm.
Exactly.
And you have worked out what is possible in reality.
Absolutely.
It's not like this is a theoretical exercise. You have done this.
Exactly, exactly that. And we've done it without taking any area out of production.
Yeah.
We're not doing the SFI actions of turning it all into wild bird covers and that sort of stuff and so on and so forth, and taking land out of production.
Yeah.
We're still practically farming our farm, but we're benefiting from the SFI 2024 scheme, and actually benefiting from the monies which are given to us and taken from the pot of the basic payment schemes and put across to SFI now.
Yeah, and you might as well.
Absolutely.
It's there to be had.
Absolutely.
And in these tough times, you might as well take everything that you can.
100%, 100%.
And as well as all these financial benefits of, trying to achieve the systems that we've talked about, obviously if we go back to the heritage of this machine and what it was made to do in the first place, just remind us of the benefits of the soil.
The benefits of the system and everything else, yeah, absolutely. So we have a simple system. We have a cutting disc on the front there, which can go through a cover crop and allow you to drill into those cover crops that you plant. It's then followed by a leading tine, which is a seeding coulter as well at the same time, because we're putting that bean down there. Then you've got your seeding tine behind it, which is then placing the seed, and we're only disturbing the soil where the roots are going to grow and where the seed is being placed.
Yes.
We're not disturbing anything else. Everything else is left intact. And what that means is it's like my hand. You have drainage for the roots, and you have for the seeded area. You have area for the roots to grow down nice and easily into the soil. And when the tractor comes and runs on it, the tractor tyre is always supported by 2 or 3 or 4 of these banks in between, so you don't sink in. We're running a big Rogator sprayer, 5,000 litre, and we don't have our tram lines are around about an inch deep in most places. We don't sink in because the soil structure is there to support the machinery.
That's it.
So there's all of these benefits. The earthworms live in the banks in between. We've got probably 3 to 5 times more earthworms than what you'd have on an average farm and an average soil where people are cultivating and such like. And they're bringing air into the soil, they're bringing the residues from the top and integrating it into the soil. We're seeing that our soil organic matter content is increasing, and we've probably increased around about 3 percentage points since we've been using the system. And with every percentage point of additional organic matter, you can store around about 250,000 litres of water.
Right.
So when you're talking about soil runoff, when you're talking about rivers, reservoirs, flooding, everything else, if the soil can buffer that water better and release it slower and actually support that side of things, it reduces all of those problems massively as well.
More of a sponge rather than a brick.
Exactly, exactly that.
There you go. And have you noticed over time, the more and more you use a strip till type drill, your leading tines in front of your coulter tines, will you be able to sort of gradually make these shallower over time, because your soil health is improving constantly.
Absolutely.
So at some point, you're not going to need to go as deep with those, are you?
Absolutely. What we would say is that we're a direct drill because we're drilling directly into the stubble. A strip till is traditionally going through and cultivating a strip and then coming back and then drilling into that strip. We're a one-pass system, but what we do find with the leading tine is that the leading tine has a benefit there, not only for placing a seed like a bean down there and such like, but also to just create that area to get the roots down, because a little small seed like that has got to expel a lot of energy to get through any pans or anything within the soil. Whereas if you just take that out with that leading tine, it just enhances the yield so much. And again, strong roots mean a strong crop, and a strong crop can then draw in more carbon from the atmosphere and sequester that through the rooting structure into the ground. So if you want to sequester more carbon and get more carbon into the ground, then again, you're better to have a strong rooting structure. If you've got a patchy crop where it hasn't grown, or you've got very small roots on the crop, it's not sequestering so much carbon.
No, that's it,
And carbon sequestration is the process of taking the CO2 from the atmosphere, from the plant, via photosynthesis, and then turning that into sugars in the roots, and that sequesters that carbon within the soil and then increases your organic matter, which goes back to the point that we were making before.
Right, back round again. And when you're, sorry, I'm just
no.
fully interested. When you're, season after season, after drilling one direction in one season, would you go slightly different in another direction in the other season?
It depends again. You can.
Or would you follow the same? Or
you can do whichever you like. Right. In the first couple of years, what we'd usually recommend to people is to drill one crop at one direction and go at 30 degrees across, because that will level the field up. Once the field is level, it's as level as a billiards table. And then you can then go afterwards in the same direction. You can run it in with RTK these days, you could run it in exactly the same position that you wish to, and you could follow those lines up and just literally follow the same lines year on year on year. So it's entirely up to you. Or if you felt that there's a benefit, you could go at a different angle for a different crop, and so on and so forth. With ours, we don't even tramline these days. We literally just drill the field,
just drill the whole lot,
and then we just run the sprayer and run the tram lines in with that on RTK.
Well, you're maximising the sprayer's capacity and potential then.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I can tell you as well, from operating the drill, it's an awful lot easier when you haven't got to worry about tram lines.
Exactly.
But again, the machine has huge clearance, so the tines are staggered in the machine, which allows the trash to flow through it. It really is an optimal design. And again, when it comes to changing wearing metal and that side of things, rather than spending the whole winter in a shed trying to change a set of discs and such like, you pull a pin out here, you drop the tine out, and you can put a new tine in. Again, on the rear tine here, the rear coulter, once that A blade wears down, you just knock it off and you knock a new one on. You can change a set of wearing metal on this machine in probably under half an hour of you.
For the whole lot?
Yeah.
There you go. Well, Spencer, thank you very much for that. It's been an absolute eye-opener. It's been an education. And hopefully you guys have learnt a little bit of something there as well. A bit of positivity, which is what we all need at the moment.
Absolutely, don't be just.
There you go.
Thank you.
Right folks, we now find ourselves on the Manitou stand, which is showing a bit of a preview of a new machine. And to tell us all about it, we've got Mr. David Clark with us. So David, you lent on it. First of all, what is it? Which one's this?
This, James, is the new MLT 742.
Right.
What we're doing here is we've got some evolutions coming on the new ag range, as we call it. So for us, the new ag range goes from the MLT 630, which I think you demoed and reviewed last year, all the way to the 741.
Right.
What we're doing on all of those models is bringing in some new evolutions on them. It will include two new models though. First of all, the 742, which is an upgrade from the previous 741.
Yeah. And so was that 741 Gold then? Or?
Yeah, basically, so a little bit more lift capacity. And then the 737 is being upgraded to a 738.
Right.
The rest of the range, the model number and capacities are all staying the same.
Yeah.
But we've managed two upgrades on the 7 metres basically.
Right.
We've managed to achieve that because we've now got on the whole range a new design of telescopic boom.
On all of them?
On all of them, all from the 6 metre all the way to the 7, complete new design.
Right.
Now it's a very similar design to what we have on the machine down there, the 841, the bigger generation.
Yeah.
So it's a completely new boom section.
Yeah.
Traditionally a telescopic boom is rectangular in shape. This one actually isn't. The sides of the boom, it's hard to see, but there is actually an additional crease line along that weld and on that side. So the sides of the boom are actually slightly oval shaped.
Right.
And it actually makes the boom stronger.
Right.
Also makes it a little bit wider and we can get more in it. So all of the pipe work that would normally go to the end of the boom, steel pipes that we have previously had underneath, are now inside.
You can sit them inside.
So a bit less vulnerable sort of pipe work inside. Coming to the head of the boom then, we've got all the sort of your main third service, your tilt pipes. But having the new boom arrangement, we can also have more integration for things like greasing systems.
Yeah.
So with this new Evolution, all of them we can spec full auto greasing, and that will do every single greasing point except the prop shafts.
Right.
Which is quite hard.
It's a bit tricky to engineer something to deal with that.
All your main bucket pivot
Even
linkages.
everything down here.
Even all your bucket pivot linkages are all greased. If you want to put your head round the back, there is all the manifolds, all the pipe work, every pin is greased.
That's all in there, is it?
It's all greased around that top side. Also, we've got a complete kind of redesign of that swan neck. It's got a heavy duty steel cast section at the front.
Yeah.
So it's a lot stronger in terms of its connection and also really clean in that front element. Wider in the front pivot pins, so stronger in design. So again, more durable.
Yeah.
And because we've got that arrangement and it's kind of like a lighter made assembler than the old design,
so all this
but stronger.
But stronger, wider,
but lighter.
Right.
So what that means is when we lift the machine to full height, on the 742 we can now take another half a ton at full height compared to the previous 741.
Got you.
So that's now up to 3.5
Hence why
ton.
this is now a 742.
Yeah, so 3.5 ton to full height on this machine.
All right.
Versus 3 ton on the previous one.
Yeah.
Which is pretty class leading on this machine. So it's making a more usable use of the same platform. On that 7.2 ton, for the 4.2 ton. In terms of, we've gained a little bit lift height, a little bit of forward reach, a couple of centimetres. But yeah, the main element really is that additional capacity.
Right. And what's brought on this new boom design on your range?
Capacity is one, and that capacity, but we're also streamlining it in on production. We currently produce it on the 8 metre.
Yeah.
And that means all of our agricultural range will basically use a very common boom design. So as well on production, we can actually sort of streamline things, speed production up a bit.
Right.
And hopefully keep the costs where they need to be for customers.
Keep them down if you can.
If we can try.
Build in bulk.
There is a few options that we need external for, which hence why on here we've got an external hose reel.
Yeah.
So if a customer does want a free flow return line for like a mixer or something, we still need an external reel for that. But things like cameras, additional services on the boom head, the greasing system is now all internal.
That's
so
it. A lot of those options that you had before, you can build them into it now, rather than just bolting stuff
and
on here and there.
And also easily a retrofit.
Right.
Because things are already kind of ready for it.
Yeah,
ready for it.
So if you want your cameras at a later date, straight away, where you go.
Also on the Evolutions, on the 7 metre machines, we've got 500 tyres available as an option, always have. But we've now got some bigger mud guards that actually fit them.
Right.
So they're wider, they're longer, and they're also adjustable to suit the size of mud guard. And again, that's just customer feedback telling us that the previous mud guards are okay, but could be a slightly better
cover those tyres a little bit
Yeah.
better. Right.
So that's one of the main things.
Power plant wise, while we're passing, is that the same as before? Or?
Yeah, drivetrain, power plants, all in the models as we previously had, all the same.
Yeah.
So options on the 6 metres, 116 horsepower. On the 7 metres, 130 or 136 with the power shift or the V+ hydrostatic transmission.
Got you.
So all the kind of model references and the options, configurations we had before are the same. Just a little bit more capacity from that boom
What engine's in this one?
It's the Deutz 3.6 Deutz engine, 140 horsepower in this.
There you go, with the V+ being
V+ is your hydrostatic Vario. So no gears in effect, just literally rev and go, and it will just sort itself out. 2 drive motors, and it will interchange between 1 and 2 motors.
All right.
Completely automatic.
Depending on what it needs.
Yeah. Yeah. So 40k on 1.
Yeah.
And then up to 19k on 2 drive
All
motors.
right. So low speed, you've got lots of
Lots
and
of pushing power.
Right,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
2 motors.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then high speed, low.
One
low
motor.
volt. Yeah.
One motor, so we get the speed. But if a customer would like this machine with power shift, we still do it as a 130 horsepower with a 6-speed power shift gearbox.
Cool.
Yeah.
Are you seeing more of a trend towards hydros now, or?
I think we still need both. We've got customers, a lot of existing customers who like torque converters.
Yeah.
And then some customers just do like the hydrostatic. So swings and roundabouts.
Got to keep them all happy.
For loading in a yard, the hydrostatic is very nimble, very good.
And then for lots of road work,
you
want your power shift still.
So cab side of the machine, the first thing to note, we are increasing and introducing a new spec level on this machine. So previously we've had classic, premium, elite.
Yep.
Every one of them gains some spec as you go up. There's a new platinum level, which is lifting a new spec level again, and comes with lots of toys basically on it. All the lights, all the cameras, full auto greasing system, LED lights, so LED road lights, front and rear, all LED lights around the cab.
Just fully loaded, basically.
Yeah, basically, everything's on there.
Right.
And then also part of the Evolutions, we've completely upgraded the ventilation system. So completely redesigned the fan system, what's underneath the sort of dashboard in terms of making it more effective, more efficient.
Yeah.
And then we've also increased the armrest, or changed the armrest cushion on the side, and you've now got a dedicated panel, lift up, and you can actually access some of your buttons under there.
All right.
So previously the armrest was only this wide,
with the
covering that
buttons
bit, buttons next to it. So we've made that wider.
Right.
To give you a bit more comfort, so when you are bouncing around, your arm's not going on the buttons.
It's got somewhere to go. Yeah. And those buttons that are under there, they're not like, they're like your secondary sort of setup.
It's not your everyday ones. It's things like reversing fan, stop and start maybe that we've got.
Stuff once you've set, you generally forget.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah. But you've still got that cool thing where you can change your buttons around, have you?
We can still get all of those buttons on that style of button. We can move them wherever we want.
Yeah.
Just again, if there's something that you did want to move, we can do that easily. You can do it easily. Another feature inside the cab on the Evolution, is what we call a smart counting system.
Right.
So next to the joystick, you will see another new button just down in there, and that is a counting system. So on the dashboard, you can set it to tally up every time you want to record maybe a bale or a bag of fertiliser, a bucket full. You can record that as a number.
Yeah.
You can have that recording manually on the button, or automatically every time the boom passes a certain point.
Right.
You can adjust that point.
Yeah.
Or you can tell it that you want, 30 and count down. So it's just basically giving you a digital tally that you can use inside the dashboard, and it will record that data and you can access it later on. So maybe you're loading bales at night and you constantly, you want to just track it, come back the next day and you can maybe read off and see how many you've actually moved.
Got you. Good stuff. So
that is the main parts of the Evolutions really. So a lot of those things are coming, spec levels, all the counting system, greasings, all available on all the range, 6 on the 6 all the way to the 7 metre.
Good stuff. And last year, if memory serves, we were talking about that integrated weighing system on one of the...
Yes, so head this way.
Right.
We'll show you.
Let's get an update then. Where you're at with that.
So what we have, last year we previewed the smart weighing system.
That's right, yeah.
This year we're showcasing it as commercially available.
You can have it now.
You can have it, you can order it. The weighing system, or should I say, weighing systems aren't new. A lot of customers maybe retrofit them previously. There's quite a well-known manufacturer available that have it retrofit that system. We've now fully integrated our own system inside the dashboard, inside the machine. We've currently got it available on the MLT 841. It will come on other models, some later this year and some into next year. The integrated system uses the machine's dashboard as a display, so we're not adding an additional dashboard. We use some of the sensors already on the machine, but we also add new ones. So we monitor boom angle, extension and carriage rotation.
Right.
And we also monitor the pressure in the lift ram, the compensation ram and the bucket ram.
Right, so you're taking all that into account.
Taking it all into account. With that, we can provide a weigh readout at any boom position. So it doesn't matter if you're fully in, fully out.
Dynamic weighing.
Weighing reading. You can weigh dynamically past a configurable angle of the boom, which you can change, or you can take a manual reading. And we've got plus or minus 2% accuracy on that system, so it's pretty accurate, which takes a lot of configuring in any boom position. There's a lot of work goes in behind the scenes to make that work.
There's a lot of angles and positions.
There's a lot of variables that come into it. Other things, you don't have to tear it. Any machine that you, or any attachment that you put on the front, you can basically push and hold the button and it will automatically tear it. So there's no storing attachments in the system. Every time you change attachment, just quick tear process and away you go.
Right.
So nice and simple. We've got some different modes. You can do a basic weigh-in, you can do a target, you can add up to just monitor how much you're loading as you go through, or you can do a complete feed ration.
You've got a bit of stuff going on here.
Which we've got a bit of stuff on the screen. So the feed ration, as a driver, you can program in the dashboard up to 13 different feeds. And inside each feed, you can choose from one of 40 or up to 44 different ingredients.
All right.
You tell it how many head of cattle you want to feed. How many distributions you're loading, and how much nutrition of each ingredient you need per cow. It will then tell you how much ingredient in total you need per mix.
Right.
So when you come to actually do your loading, you know how much silage you need, how much.
Work your way through.
You work your way
through it.
Each ingredient, and it will then work it out for that particular feed. So the level of detail that's gone into it is kind of the next stage in terms of giving that real usable sort of feature.
In terms of putting, like feed ingredients data onto the machine, is that still, what's the process?
Currently, with early days, I suppose, really, with processes, everything's done in the dashboard of the machine today in terms of programming. Once that's all done, it's all quite quick to adjust the number of heads. So if you have a cow that calves, or you introduce some new, you don't need to all of a sudden start readjusting things. You just adjust the number of heads, and you can it automatically recalculates.
Right, got you. So you're not going to constantly have to keep adjusting stuff.
No.
Right.
Once you've got all that and you've done some feeding, you can then go in the dashboard and take a reading or see what you've done historically to get an understanding of how accurate someone's been. Or what you can do is on your mobile phone, you can also extract the data to see what's actually been fed and how accurate it's been. We also go a little bit further, and on the app on the phone, we can tell it that you've got a loading bay that's got 20 ton of straights in it. You can then tell it that when you get down to 5 ton,
time to be sticking an order in.
Time to stick an order in. So it will monitor based on what you programmed when you feed, and then give you notifications to tell you reorder.
Right.
So a bit more giving that full kind of system
definitely
that works with it. And this is the first stage, really.
Well, that's it. I mean, off camera we're sort of talking about a second stage, which ideal world would be you take your diet feed plan, which has come from your nutritionist or wherever, and then just a very quick transfer to the machine, and away you go.
That'll be the next stage.
Well, that sounds really simple.
Next stage will be, in a way, the nutritionist could do it back office and send it to the machine, no problem. So that'll come in the future. It's just developments and
that's it. But it sounds like you've done a hell of a lot already, like all the foundation work to get to that stage.
The tricky bit is getting the accuracy on the machine. The software is the easy step next, really. So
that's it.
And we'll have it available on the rest of the range, I would say, in 2026. As time moves on.
Cool, good stuff. Well,
brilliant.
David, as ever,
thank you very
much for that. Spot on. Right, folks, we're now joined by another legend in the form of Mr. Brian Knight here, obviously famous for the Knight sprayers. So we've come to talk tech, really.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I say, you're famous for these sprayers, but if we have a look around the other side, we'll see what you've got going on in terms of development. So this is your Smart Inject system, which, as you can see, is very popular. So, yeah, Brian, talk us through.
Right, okay.
What is Smart Inject?
So this is Smart Inject, and it springs from the need to be able to apply chemical more efficiently when you're using a camera system. Because the problem is, if you're optically recognising weeds and treating those weeds as they come along, you don't know how much chemical you're going to need. So you don't want to mix a full tank of chemical only to have some left when you're finished. So the idea is to use injection so that you've not got too much mix that you then have to dispose of.
So effectively, you want to be mixing on the go.
You want to be
only as and when you need it.
That is right. Yeah. Now, the trouble with mixing on the go, injection's been around for years, but the problem with it is you have to change the complete sprayer to get it to work properly, and you've still got a time lag issue. Even with fast injection, you've still got a time lag issue. So what we've come up with is a new idea that what it does, it allows you to mix a base product, or it could be water, and you part mix the injected product. The sprayer, which is the blue loop going around this screen, is the continuous circulated spray line, identical to what you'd have on just about every sprayer on the market these days. You've got spray line circulation. And traditionally, if you have injection, you can no longer have spray line circulation, because what it does, it'll take the product from the injection and put it back in the spray tank. Smart Injection cures that, because the sprayer stays exactly as it always is. Doesn't matter what make of sprayer it is, we're injecting at the point here, right at the nozzle.
Right.
So we've got no need to interfere with the sprayer's integrity. All we do is we inject from this tank around this yellow loop, and it's going in at
So your traditional spray line, you can keep that as was.
Yeah, regardless of the make of spray. It doesn't have to be a night spray.
Doesn't matter what it is. And then you got this second line.
That's correct.
Which is your chemical.
Yes.
And then you're just putting that in at the nozzle.
That's it.
After the main.
That's it.
Line.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So everything above the nozzle remains as it was, and at the nozzle point we're bringing in a second source.
Right.
So now you can, for instance, if you were spraying a field of wheat and you wanted to put on perhaps a T1 fungicide mix or something, you can mix that in there. If you want to put a herbicide on at the same time, but you wanted to do it selectively with a camera, you'd put a much stronger dilution of that in there, and we circulate that through microboard pipe work, and we inject it at the nozzle on a per nozzle basis. So you've got your cameras recognising, say, wild oats or broadleaf weeds or whatever, depending on how you see it, and the camera would then activate the individual nozzle switching, and you've got your base product going on and your injected product going over the top of it.
There you go. So obviously we're talking a more, greater accuracy for a start off.
Well, we're talking of two things. We're talking of chemical saving with relatively expensive chemicals, and we're talking about the ability to spot spray from the main tank if you want to, or blanket spray from the main tank if you want to, and a second product that you can do the same thing on top of what's coming out of there.
Right.
So we can quite literally spot spray with two different products at two different rates simultaneously.
Great stuff.
All through one nozzle.
All through one nozzle. And have you had to make a brand new sort of nozzle design?
Well, the bit that we've changed is the actual switching part of the nozzle. So the nozzle body's identical, it's just the switching part.
Right.
And it's based on PWM nozzle technology. So it's a modification of a PWM valve that allows it to incorporate chemical at the nozzle.
Right, so you've taken quite a, a sort of standard valve, but you're kind of telling it something different to do.
Yeah, we're adapting it to inject this additional chemical.
Right.
So it's a relatively simple and straightforward idea, but it's also at the same time unique and quite radical, because it transforms the way...
It solves a big problem.
It solves
a couple of problems, yeah.
We've had massive interest in it at the show by the trade, by agronomists, farmers. Everybody that's seen it says, oh, that just fixes my problem.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to. So this is very simple. What you're looking at here is what a farmer would consider a 2-tank sprayer, if you like.
Yeah.
It happens to be that one's your main tank and one's a small tank. Now, out there in the marketplace today, there are sprayers around where you've just got 2 main tanks, effectively, 2 tanks equal size.
Yeah.
This doesn't have that problem. We're trying to keep this volume as small as possible so that when you're spot spraying, you don't have a lot of product left to get rid of. So that tank could come off the sprayer, go back in the chemical store, and then you could bring it out next time you use it. So that's pretty simple. So think of it as like a twin tank sprayer rather than an injection system, but an efficient twin tank sprayer. At the same time, you don't actually have to do it with 2 tanks. If you are an injection customer and you're big on injection for, say, vegetable crops or things like that, you can take this tank off and you could replace it with an injection pump.
All right.
So the same system would work with a separate injection pump. So there's a lot of depth
Very
to it.
flexible as well then.
Yeah, and people using close transfer. If you want to use close transfer, and we've got a close transfer unit here today, you could put the close transfer unit on top of a tank like this.
Yeah.
You transfer into the tank, then you top up with water to the dilution rate that you're going to run at, because we need to dilute to a certain amount in order to get the viscosity right for the circulation.
Right.
And so that then becomes your measuring container as well as your dilution chamber for your close transfer.
Right.
So there's lots of different levels you can use it at depending on the customer. Because normally, if you mention injection to an arable farmer, oh yeah, we've seen all that before, it doesn't work for me, it compromises the sprayer too much, it's too expensive. You know, they've seen it before, we've all seen it before. I'm an arable farmer, I know that I wouldn't use injection in its normal form, but I could use it in this form because it just transforms the sprayer and it doesn't interfere with the blue line, the basic integrity of the sprayer.
The actual base sprayer itself,
remains the same. Yeah.
Right. So obviously you'd be able to do it on your sprayers.
Yep.
If someone came to you and said, I really like this, sorry, but I don't have a night sprayer, would you be able to do it on?
Yeah, definitely. Because it only works after the spray line and it works in the nozzle body, that unit would fit to any sprayer.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it. We're not interfering with the sprayer. So any design of sprayer with its particular circulation system on it, whatever plumbing design it's got on it, you're not having to compromise that. You just accept that for what it is. That sprayer will always work like that. You can use it like that. You don't have to use it with this. And then when you go into a situation where you need spot treatment or it suits you to, for instance, if you're in a situation where you didn't want to put, say, a sulfonylurea product in your main tank because you've got to wash it out and it's, say, an 8,000 litre sprayer, you've then got to find 8,000 litres of water perhaps 3 times to try and wash it out before you dare go and spray your rape or your peas or whatever it is. Just put it in there.
That's
then you've only got a small volume to wash out.
Ideal.
And you haven't contaminated that.
Yeah, leave that one alone. Out of it.
Yeah. So if you've got a bio bed and every time you try to wash out after a sulfonylurea, you've got an issue with the amount of volume you're trying to put through your bio bed, problem's gone, just put it in there.
Perfect. Well, Brian, it's absolutely cracking. Really like it. And it looks like it's done all right as well because you got yourself a gold award.
Yeah, we got ourselves a gold award for the category, but we were a bit shocked when we got here yesterday because we also won the overall award for the show for machinery.
Right, so you're champion of champions, are you?
Well, it appears so, yeah.
well deserved. No, it's absolutely cracking that. Really like good stuff like that. Just, looking at something, we'll go this way with it.
Yeah,
instead,
that's right. Yeah, well, as a farmer, I'm always trying to fix the problem. Farmer and an engineer, you know, so you're always trying to fix a problem. You see it, you fix it.
That's it. Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for your time.
No problem.
Great
Thank
stuff.
you very much.
Right, folks, we move on to another impressive stand at the LAMMA Show 2025, which belongs to the Krone guys. And one of those guys is Mr. Ben Davis from the manufacturer. He's going to take us on a bit of a whistle-stop tour of the stand and look at some of the key products that you're showing off and a few bits like that. So, Ben, where do you want to start in mower world? Since we're surrounded by mowers here, what we got going on?
So we've got the full range of mowers, starting from our active mow range front mowers, we've got the push ECF 320 CV mower, which is a push. We do offer a pull version available in that, in front of us here. So main key feature on that is our drive goes from the rear, so all of the bed has a complete safe cut system on it, so every disc.
Right, so you're not going into a top hat on this side.
Correct, we just complete bed has our safe cut system.
On every
so if you
single
hit
one.
impact any disc, basically
and often it will be a corner one that'll do it.
Usually when you're doing the headland, either
it'll find something, won't it?
Yep, correct.
Right.
So that's that.
That's that one. So that's your push type, and like I say, you've got your pull.
We've got a pull type
like
as well. Correct. So we've got our best-selling rear-mounted mower.
I was going to say, there's a few of these about, isn't there?
Yeah, so this is our best-seller. Big chunk of our mower sales on the ECR 320 CV.
Right. 3.2 that one, is it?
Yes, 3.2. Main change on this, or the main feature we've added onto this, is a hydraulic swath board. So a small hydraulic ram there. So as you're going around the headland, moves into the side, puts the swath across by up to 1.3 metres.
Really?
So if you're doing the headland, then effectively it'll bring the crop in to prevent you, from pushing the grass onto the, or for the tedder, pushing the grass into the hedge.
You have it right over this side by the time it's thrown it out.
It is, and it's quite useful on a steep bank as well. So if the grass is actually dropping down, so you're not driving onto the crop that you've just cut.
Keep man happy.
Yeah. So
out the edge.
So this is our new EC Cut B 880
this is
CV.
new, is it, this one?
Relatively new there. Well, the operator interface is new.
Right.
So what you'll see here is the new 880 CV mowers.
These are conditioner, these aren't they?
Conditioner, yeah. So 880 CV conditioner. What you've got there is the new operator interface. So we've got what we call a pre-select digital. So effectively, if a tractor's got isobus, then you can just basically select which of the mowers that you want to go up, and then you pull the spool valve on the tractor.
Yeah.
So this mower, basically, when you're selling it to the customer, you can choose which operator interface you sell it with.
This one or the simple
or this one
there.
on the same mower. So the dealer can order one mower, and then obviously depending on what customer tractor, the tractor the customer has, they can say, well, if you've got mechanical remotes and no isobus, I'll sell it with this. If you've got a tractor with isobus, but you don't want the full isobus system, then you effectively go with the isobus pre-select.
Or you could go full isobus and plug it into the tractor.
On the 1050 CVs we have the full isobus on the model, so the wider mowers. The other big thing on this is we use Power Beyond for doing our hydraulic bed pressure. So the bed pressure is actually adjustable in the cab whilst you're mowing on this. And then the other big change is the swath curtains as well. So rather than a tin cover, we've gone to the swath curtain.
Oh, you just put a curtain
all the way across,
the
So basically, if a dealer trades it in, after two or three, exactly, and then you will see that the mower looks much more improved.
Right. Is that easier for servicing and maintenance as well?
Yeah, and it reduces the weight as well.
Of course, because it's a big unit, really.
Yeah. So that's the CV model. We do offer a version with groupers on it as well.
Yeah.
Collects. So ECB,
so
880 CV collects. Belt groupers as well. Yeah.
You do auger groupers on your...
We do. We offer a set dedicated mower, which is an ECB 950. A butterfly mower with an auger.
Yeah.
But we also offer a big swath system on the 1050 mowers.
Right.
So you can actually have an auger on the back to offer as a grouper, and then it's similar design to that of the Big M.
Of course, yeah.
So. Big key feature on the tedders.
Oh, we're going Tedder World now.
Tedder World now.
So we've dropped it.
So
spread it out.
Cut it. Now we're going to spread it out.
Right.
So the big new news that we've got here is the first time it's been publicly seen in UK is the Vendro C1340.
Right.
So that's a replacement to the KWT 1300.
Yeah.
And basically it brings into the KW range, trailed range, all the enhancements that we did for the Vendro, the main one being the position of the wheel in relation to the rotor, so it brings it closer to the tine,
so you get
better following, better ground contouring.
Right. And this is what, 13 metres?
13.4 metres this is.
Right, hence the 13.40.
So this particular one has the two optional extras that are available on this model, one being the hydraulic height adjustment, so you effectively change the pitch of the rear on that cam.
Counters pitch, that one there.
That ram there, and then obviously the tines go up and down closer to the ground. So if you're in a field that's quite rough, say there's a bit ruts from when they've been spreading slurry, etc., you can adjust it on the go. And then the other element on that is the hydraulic headland curtain. So you basically fold that curtain down when you go around the headland, and it prevents the grass being kicked out onto the hedge stroke uncut grass.
You're just making it too easy for us now, aren't you?
So the other thing that this has added to it is a new 2-point hitch system.
Right.
So instead of a three-point hitch system, you basically just got your two lower links on the tractor, and then there's a spring that goes from the top here down to the top link pin on the tractor, just so that when you get a negative load when turning on the headland, it's like a shock absorber to try to stop it from trying to rear up.
Got you. Right, so it just keeps a bit of nose weight on it, sort of thing.
So that's the real big change, you know, in our Tedder section. Obviously, it's got all of the Octolink drives all the way through the bed. And then a gearbox mounted on the underside of the chassis. So, you know, we've got a drive shaft and then an individual drive into each. We don't drive through the gearbox.
Of course, right, you're not like this basically here.
Exactly,
That's not
exactly.
Up there. You're not driving
you're not driving through it, you're actually chassis mounted. The gearbox is actually mounted on the chassis. So crown wheel and pinion. So it gives you a lot more increased durability.
And is this the widest Teddy you do now, this one?
No, we've still got the KWT 1600 and the 2000 available as well. So yeah.
Will they be going the way of this? Turning into
it's the natural evolution of to move to the Vendro range. We launched the Vendro C 1120 last year. We've moved now to the Vendro C 1340. So the expectation from my side is that we will go going forward. So.
You tell them, Ben.
Yeah. So,
come here, Bernard. Right, where are we heading to
So we're now going to the rake section. So you've cut it, you've tedded it.
Yeah.
We're now
You've got a couple of examples of mounted ones on there.
Yeah,
as well,
so we've got two mounted ones on there. This one's got the optional hydraulic headland mode, so the small ram there effectively does that, and then the Tedder will move offset to the rear of the tractor, so it kicks it into the field. Yeah.
Right, spot on.
Okay. So when we move on to our
we
move on to our Swadro range. We've effectively got our full rake on the options of a single rotor rake. So we've got our Swadro 420 here.
Yeah.
We've got a TC 640.
You do many of those in the UK, these
yeah,
single rows?
Yeah. A lot of it's moved for swath movement in straw.
Right,
you know, a lot of people move straw swaths.
Yeah.
You know, especially on a wet harvest.
Yeah.
It's probably the kind of thing that you end up with. We sell quite a few at the back end of the season.
I'm going to say that'll come into its own in the last two seasons.
Yeah. What we've got here is a Swadro TC 640 with hydraulic width adjustment on this.
Right, so what will that vary from and to?
It goes out to 6.4 metres fully out.
Yeah.
And I think it's something like 4.8, I think, fully in, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah. So, you'll have to double check on that. And then the steering is standard on this model.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool, so that's your twin roll too.
Yeah. And then we move on to our TC 1250.
Yeah.
Main change on this is the new operator interface. We've got the same concept as what we had on the mowers, the butterfly mowers that we saw.
Yeah.
You've got a digital pre-select or a DS50, so our new kind of DS50 we call it.
Okay.
Membrane switch panel.
Yeah, so you can literally just go for either or.
Correct. Same machine, core machine, you effectively select depending on the customer tractor, mechanical remotes. The main change on this is we've actually got individual rotor lift and lower on this model now as well, so you can effectively dump the spool and then you select what to do. The same with constant pumping, you put it on and it'll then individual rotor lift, and then you've also got the ability to have timed lift as well. It'll automatically lift rears after a certain period of time compared to the fronts.
Will this work with Power Beyond as well, this machine?
No, you don't need it because you've effectively only need the two spools.
Just send and return?
Just send and return,
That's it.
Yeah. Well, you've got one single acting and one double acting for folding and then obviously raising up on the headland, etc., up to a predetermined height. And then that's it, really. So it's a very, very simple rake, 12.5 metre operating width. This one is the Plus model, which has the electric rotor height adjustment as well on all four rotors, and they can be all done individually on the touchscreen here. So you effectively change that on there. So select your rotor, then you can effectively change the rotor height.
Dial it up, yeah.
So if you effectively, because they're highlighted, it's hedging all of them, so you can do individual or you can do all four.
Depending on which one you highlight.
Yeah.
Got you.
So, good.
Cool. And is there any mechanical changes on this, or is it mainly down to?
Mainly down to the operator
control,
interface, the CC1250. I mean, the big plus point for this is this individual rotor lift.
Yeah.
Where, you know, when we
especially in our field.
Especially in a lot of parts of the field, in a lot of parts of the country where silage is made. Unfortunately, they're not square handkerchief fields. They're all shapes and sizes.
That's it.
You know,
It'll be a popular one, the 1250, is it?
Yeah, it is a popular size, you know, and that's really kind of the main segment that grew last year. The 4-rotor rake segment in terms of rakes was one that grew in the last 12 months. A lot of that's being driven by contractor business and larger dairy farm units wanting to take a bit more control of the crop cutting, tedding and raking prior to the foragers, so they're in control to try and achieve that wonderful 24-hour from cutting to pitting. So
after?
So we move on to big balers.
We're on to big packs here.
Yeah, so we've got our focus this year is on the 1290. Large market in the UK of balers is 1290 size bales. What we've got is our Gen 4 or Gen 5 on the right hand side here with all of the service panels, so that's kind of highlighting the serviceability and operator comfort features that we've got on our big square baler.
You did a couple of testimonials.
I think you'll find on the back there's a TV running, and you'll you'll see in loop, you'll see LandPowerTV on the odd occasion. So, and that's highlighting the serviceability. You know, the fact that the panels fold down.
It's just completely.
You know,
open,
to allow for stringing, to allow for serviceability. So, so this is in the brake band or restringing position. So effectively opens up like that to allow you to get on at ground level. And service lights as well. So if you're doing it in the evening, you've still got full visibility.
Right. And they just come on automatically, huh?
The light, the lights, So and then if we go around to the other side, you see service lights inside there, so you can get access. So this model has the so the service panel is up. So this is the service mode. That's string mode, if you like, on the right-hand side. Main element on this is obviously the electronic VFS trip. So it gives more operator comfort whilst driving to make sure that you get the maximum amount of the baler.
So you don't necessarily have to trip on every stroke.
Exactly, you're actually tripping when it's actually
when that pre-chamber's full.
And then we've got a load monitor as well on the drive shaft to that VFS, which is that torque sensor there. That effectively tells the operator that you're actually getting to the point of overload, or there's a lot more potential still to come if you want to speed up.
It either eggs you on or backs you off.
Correct. The other thing to highlight on this is the V-knotters. So from the V-knotters, the twin knots without any twine tails are on this now. And then we also have power clean on there, which is effectively forced air into the knotter bank. And then the outlets from that are also down the side, so it actually keeps the side of the baler.
So it blows this down
blows
as
the
it's
air
keeping
down.
the knotters clean as well.
Correct. So they're completely, clean. So if you're actually starting service, they're not designed as the itchy, scratchy things anymore. So
certainly not as bad as you used to be.
So. And then if we move over to the other 1290 that we've got on the show here, that's the 1290 HDP2. So that is our ultra high density baler, if you like.
Right.
So that also has V-knotters on and power clean. So
that's that one.
So that's our Gen 4 effectively the ultra high density baler.
Right.
And then that's the HDP2 there.
Right.
Has the V-knotters. So we've got a very dense bale here.
Very dense bale.
So, so not too sure I'd want to put it through my straw chopper.
No, that's it. It sounds a bit hollow. But
But and then we've got our V-knots here. So you have two different style knots at either end of the bale, and then that basically allows us to eliminate the small twine tails going forwards. We also have on this, just to show here, the concept of the bale tagger. So effectively, we'll show you in a moment, behind us is a static model, but on the knotter bank, there's what we call bale tagger.
Right.
So as the knotters trip, it effectively applies a tag to one of the strings. That string then has a QR code on it, and that's linked to the telematic data for this specific bale. So depending on what the baler's actually equipped with, such as moisture, weight, then it will give you that additional information, but it will give you GPS position, and time, GPS location and everything. And then it has a QR code on there so that you could move this once. So basically, once you move the bale, all of that data would normally historically be lost. Going forwards, because you've got that, it goes with it. So 6 months down the line, I can tell you where this bale has actually come from.
Right, so full transparency.
Full transparency for traceability.
So who wants this amount of information then? Who's after that?
It's coming from like the organic business, let's say. So if people are buying in on an organic farm who need traceability of where bought in crops have come from, then effectively they can scan that QR code, and then they've got traceability of the GPS position of where that bale was made, and that then ties up with organic farm producing those bales as information. It's also for the likes of if you're selling straw and buying straw, you can say, you know, where it's come from and what moisture it was actually done. So somebody buying a load of straw can actually see what those bales were actually moisture were baled at.
There you go. I suppose you could split some of them up as well. Let's put these nice dry ones over here.
You know, obviously the telematics we've always been able to do moisture, but as soon as you've moved that bale, it's lost.
That data's
gone.
So
that data's gone.
Right,
so
and this takes it with it.
So basically, this is the tagger here. So what you'll see is there's a cartridge of tags in the centre there. So as the bale is produced and the knotters trip, that tag actually is applied onto the string, and the concept is, if you remember, if you're a similar vintage to me, you'll remember the plastic tab that you used to have on the top of a loaf of bread, where you kind of put it on.
Oh yeah.
Same principle. Exactly the same principle. Yeah, exactly the same principle as that.
Right.
So that just basically applies with compressed air, forces the little actuator down, and that then forces it onto the string, and the bale's gone. And that information is then linked in telematics for the bale tag code versus the telematic information of the baler.
There you go.
We've also got an enhancement to our smart telematics system.
We talked about this. Was it last time we talked
so we've
about
got
this?
Smart Telematics Plus. So the big key customer benefit of that is now the ability to export data as ISO XML or shape files, so that you can put it with a USB stick that would save it and then put it into your farm management software.
Right.
We do obviously offer telematics through the AgriRouter portal as well, but it's, you know, for those farmers that are not necessarily getting that level of, or wanting that level of complexity.
This is just another way
they can
to
basically
transfer.
extracting that data and putting it into the machine.
Good stuff. Right, where are you taking us now, Ben?
Round balers next.
Round balers.
So we've got our Comprimer CV150 XC Plus.
So this
here.
is variable chamber.
So this is a variable. So from 900 mil bale up to 1.5 meters. So you're getting full compression, if you like, of the bale.
Yeah.
From 900 millimeters up to 1.5 millimeters. And we now offer film-on-film technology with this as well. So we're seeing more customer demand for film-on-film technology, especially in the dairy industry when they're using it as a buffer stock. They're kind of wanting to put it directly into the diet feeder, and they get a grapple that'll
just pull the whole lot off.
Put the net wrap and the film wrap all in one.
And just one type of plastic waste to deal with.
Exactly, one type of plastic waste to deal with, and you can use less wrap because in theory you're getting more coverage depending on how many already getting it from this.
Chamber.
And you always end up with a huge amount on the ends. So now really once the ends are covered to the same level as the sides, you're okay.
Yeah.
So that's the big change on that.
That's that one.
We've got our VariPack model here, so variable chamber baler here, belt baler. So that's
the Comprimer, that'll be slat and
that's the slats.
So
slat model, exactly.
Whereas this is a belt
baler. So you tend to find that this is more, let's say east side of the country, for more straw, hay, etc. Whereas the Comprimer baler would be probably more west coast of the country, So you do see a bigger split, in where we sell certain models.
Yeah,
so,
but they will do both.
They will do both. Yeah, for sure. And we're seeing some people actually using a baler now and putting film wrap on hay, so you can have it in the field for longer.
Just on the barrel.
Just on the barrel, and not wrapping the entire barrel. You just actually, So
basically, where your net would be.
Yeah, I mean the wrapper market, the combi wrapper market accounts now for a good percentage of the overall UK market.
Yeah.
So,
right. Any changes to VariPack, or where are we at with this?
Not really. I mean, it's obviously it's been on the market.
Still fairly new yet.
It's still fairly new. It's been on the market. I mean, very, very good high density round baler.
Yeah.
Serviceability is excellent on it. You've got the mechanical release of the rotor. So if you block it, you can release the auger. You can put the net wrap to go, dump the bale, and then put the rotor back in, and then take the lump in. So
there you go.
Yeah. So away you go. So.
Right. So that's that.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go next?
If we go on to forages.
Forages next.
Yeah. So what we've got on forages is we're highlighting on the Big X. So we've got the Big X 1180 here. So our big
daddy.
The big baby. Yeah. So we'll go around the back. We can work our way around. So what we're highlighting on this, is the key messages like power plus efficiency.
Right.
Gives you overall productivity.
Yeah.
So it's not all about power.
Although you've got a lot of it,
we've got
but it's what you do with it.
It's what you do with it as well. You can have a 1,500 horsepower in here, and if you're not transmitting that power efficiently, then you're wasting your time and fuel.
So what's making you stand out? What's your USPs then?
So I mean, we've got obviously the simple belt drive.
So you got your engine side to side.
The side to side. So we've effectively got the belt running straight down to the drum. So we're not having any kind of transmission parasitic losses, on the forage harvester. So if you start the header, on our headers we've kind of got inbuilt efficiency. So such as the camless pickup. So effectively you're not, losing power on that cam track. When you then start going into the forager, we've got our 6 feed rolls that kind of...
Let's get to the front. Or try and get to the front. It's quite busy around it.
So
here we go.
So
feed rolls.
Six feed rolls that they're going to feed and compress the crop, so a uniform mat going into the drum. Our max flow drum has a huge transition area, so once it's gone into the drum, the scoop, if you like, of the knives and the design has a huge pocket to carry that crop.
You've got a lot of capacity.
You've got a lot of capacity behind each knife to actually carry it. We're not dragging it around with a huge compression on the actual drum bottom. The drum bottom,
that's it. You carry, like I say, you're carrying it around.
We're carrying it around.
You're not scraping it.
Correct.
Right,
so we've got a lot of room in there for transition of crop. We've also got our vary stream on the underside of the drum. So we've got a sprung-loaded drum bottom. So if you do get a big lump going in, you're not sending a big peak load back to the engine. You're effectively allowing that just to open up to allow that lump. So that gives you a very, very good transition of crop up to there. We've then got our, depending on the configuration or what you're doing, we've got our grass chute in there, but we've also got our Optimax crop processor there that folds back. You can move in and out on a chain system. So we've got a standalone unit over there, but the Optimax 305 model that we've got there is the larger diameter of the 2 crop processors that we offer. So that gives you huge crop flow through. It's not a resisting factor, the 305. So if you compare the 305 even to our 250, we're seeing a huge reduction in tons per hour, increase in tons per hour, and a reduction in fuel consumption in terms of litres per tonne.
Just by going to
that. And then also increases our CSPS score, which is, when you're in maize, CSPS score is the way in which the kernels are smashed up, down to a point of, if you have a very good CSPS score, then the digestibility of that silage is greater, and that in turn leads to better yields from cows. So that's
it all adds up what you're doing.
It all adds up in there, but the fact that we have the bigger crop processor gets more crop throughput through it, because you've got a bigger peripheral surface circumference of the
it's all about just literally starting at the head. It's all about those transitions, keeping everyone as smooth and as free flowing as possible.
Correct, and that's where
all the way through.
So basically, we've got the large blower where we've got the stream control, where we can effectively change the position of which the crop enters the blower. So if you've got a huge, a lightish crop and you want more blow, then you can effectively move it. So that moves the position of which the crop enters the accelerator or the blower, if you like.
Right. So that's pre-blower that. That's before the blower.
So it basically pre-blower. You're altering the position of which it actually enters.
Right.
And then obviously after that it's gone. So if you've got a big heavy crop, you don't want to be putting it into the centre of the blower or the
and do you have adjustable plate at the back of the blower as well?
Yes, so it's got a bit of spring. So and then you've got like a small ram on there that moves it in and out to move that position as well.
Right.
And then obviously alongside that we've got serviceability. I mean, we've removed the step for the steps for the show. There's 2 bolts basically. There's 1 bolt to retain, or 2 bolts to retain it, and 1 pivot hinge, a hinge bolt there.
And that swings out the way.
15 minutes we were in that position there now pretty much, and then obviously the wheel off just to allow access for the show here.
But it's like once you do that, it's very open.
From a serviceability point of view. And then the other element is obviously the NIR sensor that we've got fitted to this machine. So that's like full nutrient, analysis on the go. So we've got a full, like digital suite.
Is that getting more popular now? People
it is.
To know more information. More information.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people are trying to do so they can make fact-based decisions on future purchases of feed, etc. for the winter. So if you know now what's going into the clamp, then you can make that decision and say, oh, I need X kilograms or X tons of feed going forward for the winter. So, and then last but not least, we've got our
I've been here before, isn't it?
Yeah. You can tell me about this one.
So I'll let you do it.
So we've effectively got our new RX forage wagon. This is the RX 370. with the OptiGrass 28. So this has got the 28mm cut rotor.
That's it, yeah.
With knife bank. So big thing on this is obviously the hydraulic pickup reel. So hydraulically driven, proportional to tractor forward speed.
Yeah.
So, and the good feature on that as well is we've got a boost function. So if you come to a lump, obviously proportional pickup reel, proportional to speed. If I stop, pickup reel is going to stop. So if you come to a lump, you can push a boost function, which will make that pickup reel go to full speed. Then you can inch into the lump,
and just sort of
then you tickle it in, and then you go let go with the button, and it goes back to the normal proportional speed. That is
how. Oh, just go for it.
Yeah. Well, there is that.
It'll do it. I've seen it.
Basically, bed pressure is adjustable from the cab, so the pickup reel pressure. So if you're in some fields again that are rough after winter, last winters we've had.
A distinct possibility.
So then you can basically reduce the amount of pressure that's actually on the.
Just take the weight off the pickup a little bit.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So this is the 37. We offer it in a 33 cube, 37 cube, and a 40 cube. The RX. A lot of that technology's come from the ZX range. It's been evolved.
That's it.
It's
evolved
started
from at the top, didn't it? It's filtering now.
Correct.
Will some of this get down to MX as well?
That's what we'd like to do. Yes. I mean, it takes time to obviously do a whole development process. So we're going for the market that's probably the biggest at the moment, and then we'll move down. So
that's it. And these going well for you?
Very, very well.
I certainly know a fella who's got two of them anyway.
Yes. So,
possibly his brother-in-law's bought one as well.
That's correct. Yeah. So we've had some good success in this market this year. So then that's.
And she's still relatively new, this one.
Very much so.
With the OptiGrass on it.
Last year was the first kind of commercially available units, and then obviously it's.
And are you seeing that demand now for the short?
Yeah, the 28 mil. Yeah, and then obviously with our rotor concept, we've got this integral auger on the side.
That's right, bringing it in.
It basically feeds the side
almost, doesn't it?
Recycles the side, so you end up with grass going back in, so you never get any uncut grasses
being
going
dragged
around
the outside.
Historically, that's what happened. Basically the sides of the forage wagon were uncut. Let's call it. Yeah.
And with this sort of folding the shoulders in a bit, you get your solid shoulders.
Yeah.
Like a bale, isn't it?
Exactly.
You want your solid shoulders going right the way up this box.
Correct. If we move on to the side, you'll see there's a power band for the drive.
Let's see if we can get there. It's quite popular, isn't it, really?
So.
Get there eventually. There we go. Just sneaking in.
So you can see the power band there, and our speed sharp system here. So.
And what's the sort of reasons behind the power band? Benefits, I should say.
It's a very, very good transition of power from you basically come into one gearbox, and then you have a lot less power reduction, power loss going through that, and then there's an epicyclic unit inside the actual auger that actually reduces the speed down.
Right, takes it down again.
Takes it down again. Yeah. And those pulleys are interchangeable, so if you've got a smaller tractor, you can actually reduce the ratio of that as well. And then on the 28 mil, the speed sharp does 3 knives. On the 37 mil, it does 2 knives because of the configuration of the system.
So each sort of disc is looking after 3 knives.
In this instance,
so it does its job onto the next one.
Correct. And that's standard in the UK.
Right. So what speed sharp standard is it?
Yeah, in the UK. Yeah.
Spot on.
So.
There you go. What you got left?
Hydraulic sprung axle on this. So she's got the hydraulic axle. There is a spring option available, but the kind of the popular one at the moment seems to be more the hydraulic.
Heading that way now, is it?
Yeah. Right. Correct. And then last but not least, we've got a competition here with our HD liner. So that's the drum bottom.
Right.
So that's done 3 seasons in the field.
Yeah.
So it's done 3 seasons on the big X1180 component.
Yeah.
And you can actually win a Krone branded Ridgeline jacket if you guess to the nearest kilogram in terms of fresh matter have been across that drum in that period of time.
So it's done 3 seasons?
Yeah.
Grass, whole crop.
And maize.
Yeah. Leave it with me, I'm going to have to get my calculator out, but leave it with me, I will get a rough answer to you.
There's a few numbers. Well, you're more than welcome. There's an iPad behind you there. What you do is you put how many kilos you think you're going to cross it.
How long is this competition running for? Is it just at LAMMA?
Just at LAMMA.
It's just at LAMMA,
right. Yeah.
So when you're watching this, you can't enter anyway, so there you go. But I'm going to have a go.
But it's just, it's to highlight the kind of the...
yeah, there's loads of life left.
Loads of life left in it, yeah, with a hard coating, so it doesn't look really that much different to when it went out in the field from the beginning. So.
That's it.
So that's really a very quick whistle-stop tour of the
what's going
of
on?
the Krone stand.
What's going on? I'd imagine there's there's lots in the pipeline as well.
Yeah, there's always things going on. I mean, it's all part of continuous product development, you know, so you've got to keep continuing developing.
We're in an Agritechnica year, aren't we? Now
Correct,
2025, so that'll be coming up in November. No doubt you'll have something, won't you?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of things on the horizon, so, you know, we'll just have to wait and see and head over to Agritechnica in Hanover in November.
Yeah. It'll soon be here.
Yeah, very much so, very much so.
There you go.
Good.
Good. Spot on. Thank you very much, Ben.
No problem.
Pleasure, as always.